always had a sister. We always had resistance. Home said I could assistance. General order, carry resistance. HOLC assistance. Robin's airport resistance. FHA assistance. Black Wall Street resistance. LDR New Deal assistance. Randolph orders, and anyone resistance. 1862 assistance. 1863 resistance. 1933 assistance. 1931 resistance. 1935 1921 resistance. 1939 1941 resistance. 80 hardest. Shorter, 80 harder. These real cars, shorter. 90 harder. Giving me the rules. 99 is done. No one black and beautiful. Home said I got assistance. General order, order resistance. HOLC assistance. Robin's airport resistance. FHA assistance. Black Wall Street resistance. LDR New Deal assistance. Randolph order is 81 resistance. Oh, 87 harness. Free blacks in space for issue. 87 harness. Free men with aspiration. 90 harder. Gentle nigga rules. 90 harder. No one black and beautiful. 87 harder. Free blacks in space for issue. 87 harder. Free men with aspiration. 90 harder. Gentle nigga rules. 90 harder. No one black and beautiful. They always have it. They always had a system. We always there. They always had a system. They always had a system. We always were resistant.
Yo, that really makes me wonder, like, who the hell is paid? Now we gotta reconsider everybody I done cooked, debated, featured, reacted on. Dr. Maya, all these people are possible paid trolls. And you know what? People, the Holy FBA Codex was saying it. A few of you in the chat was saying, yo, some of these people are informants and agents. And you know, that sounds good because it sounds about right. But we really don't have the proof or anything. But now we have something, like there's some evidence of Russia paying these tethers, these Pan-Africanists, to cosplay and undermine us. I got a note sheet. Just a few things I could think of. If you guys could think of more, let me know. But these are the things that they are sent to undermine. Okay, for one, they act like Africans didn't sell us. That's a major talking point. They are pro race based reparations, which undermines and sabotages our reparations claim. They have to be lineage based. They say we're that we are divisive, xenophobic. This is the smear campaign, the defamation campaign. Shit. Okay. Uh, Man, I spelled that wrong. Oh shit. No, don't get on me. They want to call us African Americans, right? We say FBA. Oh no, nobody was called that until recently. No, as though African Americans is ancient, right? The AU hijacked our reparations, or is trying to hijack our reparations movement. Oh, then you got guys talking about a black city plan, which is a bunch of foolishness that I embarrassed and cooked. And then you got folks saying we need to sue the state for reparations. A nothing no nothing burger undermining our stance for federal reparations. Then we have let me throw one more on it. Another one on there. Freedmen. They attack freedmen status. They say it's no good. Right. I mean, and then they want to throw around African booty scratcher as though it's a bad terminology. Another one. Diaspora wars. Okay. They say there's diaspora wars. This is all these things are potentially coming from the Russian troll farm. It's literally called a Russian troll farm. You don't believe me? Check this out right here.
Thousands of miles from the frosty streets of St. Petersburg, this is a new hub for Russia's infamous trolls. A CNN investigation has found that Accra, Ghana was the launch pad for an online operation to stoke racial tensions and stir up social unrest in the U.S. ahead of the 2020 election. On Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, hundreds of accounts churned out posts about issues such as racism and police brutality in the U.S.
For months now, we've been investigating this network of trolls targeting African Americans, and now we've actually come here to Ghana to try to get the full story.
In the run-up to our journey, we had discovered that all of the accounts were connected to an NGO called Eliminating Barriers for the Liberation of Africa, known as EBLA or EBLA. Looking at the website, it was clear something was off. Parts of it still had dummy text. It was impossible to make an actual donation. And most mysteriously, one of the photographs had a Russian file name.
Oh my God.
Though the group claimed to be focused on issues like poverty in Ghana, its employees posted almost exclusively about the U.S. Some used incendiary language.
We are on their mind 24/7. The sham website was supposed to be about how poor Ghana is, but all of their posts are about Foundation Black Americans.
America's descent into a fascist police state continues. Someone needs to take that senator out. Often they posted on real U.S. groups, an attempt to gain legitimacy and build an audience. Many even implied they were in America. We all are sick and tired of the violence that's taking place in our communities. In reality, they were here, in a nondescript house on the outskirts of Ghana's capital.
This is the compound where the operation has been based. There's no sign for an NGO. We're about an hour outside of the city, and you can see this is a very secluded residential area. And people here have been telling us that about 3 weeks ago, Ghanaian security services showed up here, raided the building, and no one's been back since.
Sources in Ghana's national security tell CNN that all of EBLA's funding came from Russia.
Damn, all of it. Hey, yo, these guys are that's a new terminology, Russian trolls. So when these folks start speaking against reparations, like just flat out call them a Russian troll. these revenues and everybody. Let's just let them know. Just a Russian troll. And they sat there and said we were bots. And these guys are literally being paid by Russia to undermine us.
After the raid, the accounts went quiet for a few days. Then on Instagram, the group changed their handle names and started posting again. We're heading out now to meet one of the FBA employees. They don't actually know the CNN is coming to this meeting, but we're desperately hoping they might be able to give us some more information about how the NGO works and who might be behind it. After some discussion about their safety, the employee agrees to talk to us, provided we keep her identity hidden. We sit down in a secure location. She tells us she was hired in September of 2019 and had no idea she would be working as a Russian troll.
Tell me more about your training.
Yeah, I got this from you, Renaissance Woman. I think you're the one that put the link in the chat. But that's what I like. I like when you guys email me or Facebook instant message me, things like this. This is what I want. This is what I want content. I want to be universal. I want to explore to different topics. I don't always want to cook on the ordinary tethers that we talk about on a regular basis. Let's get out and do something different. This is something different. So when you gave the link, I just did the investigation, right? I went deeper, and here we are.
So we were trained to use relevant hashtags. So if I'm posting about Black Lives Matter, I shouldn't add a hashtag about probably Beyonce.
The 16 employees were each given different areas to focus on: racism, police brutality, feminism.
Initially, your success is...
I'm quite confident that Africans, Pan-Africans are all funded by these Russian farm troll things, these Russian troll factories. They call Russian troll farms also. And I wouldn't even doubt if a lot of these tether conservatives are also paid by these Russian troll factories, these Russian troll farms in Ghana and Nigeria.
Is measured by the number of people you reach. But most importantly, you have to get followers, all right?
The tactics are strikingly similar to those used by Russia's Internet Research Agency, known as the IRA, ahead of the U.S. presidential election in 2016. The aim? To pit Americans against each other and create mistrust of the political system. Run by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a close associate of President Putin, the IRA was later sanctioned by the U.S. This time, the Russians appear to be outsourcing some of their troll networks, offering plausible deniability. The employee tells us her boss was a South African who called himself Mr. Amara.
He said he was a passionate person about helping people.
Did you know if Mr. Amara spoke any languages other than English?
According to what I heard, he spoke Russian too.
But Mr. Amara is not South African. In fact, he is not Mr. Amara at all.
Look at this tether.
CNN has learned his real name is Seth Weredu, and he is Ghanaian. Weredu has worked and studied in Russia for many years.
Look at this. Look at these tethers. Yeah, I agree with Pinky Wells that these Africans went to the Russians like, yo, can you fund this undermining op? We're trying to sabotage these Foundation Black Americans, and we got resources for you. You dig? Ibrahim Toure, all of them was over there asking, hey, man, I'm trying to undermine these FBAs over there. How can you help us?
Months after starting the Ghana operation, he opened a second branch in Nigeria. In January of this year, FBA even posted a job on LinkedIn in Charleston, South Carolina. The raid by Ghana's security services did not stop Weredu. On our last day in Accra, we find out that he has organized a secret meeting of employees on a university campus. He tells them to create more accounts and promises they will get paid soon. As the meeting finishes, we approach him wearing a hidden camera and greet him in Russian.
Извините, подождите, пожалуйста. Здравствуйте. Seth. Hi.
Yeah.
My name's Clarissa Ward. I work for CNN.
Yeah,
Hi.
talking tether.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Look, he
I just
looks
had a couple of
stupid.
questions for you about Ebla
Okay.
and why you posted this job in the U.S. in Charleston, South Carolina.
Oh, but it's actually so strange for someone to come and ask me about EVLA right now. So
Yeah, they got you stupid
I
ass.
don't know how much I can be of help to you.
You're aware that there's a presidential election in November.
No.
You're not aware
I
of
know,
that?
I know there's one in Ghana.
How long have you been working for the IRA, for the troll factory
What toll factory?
in
These
St.
flying
Petersburg,
feathers.
Russia? So
Well, I don't know. I don't know what IRA is. So
But let
I
me guess, he's our brother. He's our brother, right?
can't say that I'm working for IRA.
So why do you call yourself Mr. Amara and say that you're South African?
I just think it's my own personal something. Everyone can call themselves anything that they want. Anyone can transform it into whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm protected by God.
Okay.
I'm doing this for him. I'm doing this for my own.
Got his dumb ass.
So
But you're actually doing it for Russia,
Yeah, that's a big
so
statement
you
to
might
make
want to
right
explain to God that there was a mix-up.
He repeatedly denies running a Russian troll factory. And with that, our conversation ends.
Here he comes.
Moments later, we see Waredu drive off in a red Mercedes.
Look, they paying this dude handsomely to undermine us.
Wherever his money comes from, he seems to be doing well. The room where Ebla's trolls once sat now stands empty. But similar operations out there may be ramping up as efforts to influence the 2020 election continue. Clarissa Ward, CNN, Accra, Ghana.
Yo, this dude is paid up. Yo, it pays to try to undermine us. So these are some of the things that they get paid to spew all over the internet. Africans didn't sell us. We should be fighting for race-based reparations, which are nothing burgers. FBAs are divisive, xenophobic. We're African Americans. We're not FBA. African Americans. We're African. You dig? The AU hijacking reparations. A bullshit Black City plan. State reparations we should fight for, not federal reparations. African booty scratcher. Oh, this is so offensive. Oh my God, it's terrible. But it's really fitting. I'm actually backing this now. This is the first term before tether. This is the first word for tether. Okay. And it came on behalf of our youth, elementary kids. Realized that there was something off about these African foreigners, these Caribbean foreigners. Something is off. They're behaving a certain way towards us. You dig? They're not really interactive. They're very distant. And we find out it's their mothers, from their own mouths, it's their mothers telling them to not rock with us, with something wrong with us. Let's hang with the white folks. So the youth was like, yo, forget those African booty scratchers, man. No, don't play with him. No, leave him alone. He's African booty scratchers. Let him stay over there slobbing in the corner looking crazy. Then they go against freedmen status. They say this is not a something that we can claim in our case for reparations. And they have started this fake diaspora war, which is one-sided. We don't even know what the hell what this is. And all it is just a bunch of immigrants yelling at us, blaming us for everything, and they're denying anything, any accountability. You dig? So if y'all could remember some other important things they like to repeat, I'll put that there. All right. So I actually researched the article on this stuff. So let me pull it up. I'm gonna read it. It's it's, it's unbelievable, man. But it's real. It's real. The farms, the Russian troll farms are real. They're in Africa, specifically Ghana and Nigeria. That's a fact. That's why I say that there's no love lost when it comes to Africans disrespecting us. And there's no love lost. Like, yeah, we sold you, we know what we did, and we ain't trying to be your friend. So they be like, miss me with all that brother stuff. Oh, it's my queen, you're my brother type shit. Like, nah, don't do that. Don't call me your brother. Okay. All right. So let's get it.
And it's cheaper away from major cities. But I would kind of want to remove my child away from that anyway.
Let the truck driver go on a little bit. Let me find my research paper. And while I'm doing that, let me play the truck driver. This truck driver is smart, man. She got all the answers, Sway. She know everything about everything, and she's gonna teach about everything except how to get in the trucking business and how the pros and cons. The things she's supposed to talk about, she don't talk about. She rather talk about what's in um just random topics, law, just real estate, just real ridiculous stuff.
But I definitely feel like there's no way that Nazis would ever teach Jew children anything. So and it's not that we got to keep hate up or I have to hate the other people.
Yeah, she said Nazis and Jews. Man, there's no comparison that you can. That's crazy.
It's just that if you oppressed us for so long, if you're never going to tell this history how it needs to be told. I just don't want the other people teaching my kids anything. So if that means like homeschool, if that means having 5 or 6 different mothers and you teach economics and you teach history and you teach reading and you teach this.
Like, yeah, but so based on that education, so we got people who never taught a thing in their life, and they're you're gonna rely on them to teach your kids economics, reading, and math. Okay, I mean, barely, your brother barely knows what 9 times 7 is, but he's gonna be the math teacher. Yeah, this homeschool stuff, family. Listen, nah, that ain't it for a lot of us. That ain't it. I seen people mess this up, man. And that as a result, their kids become socially awkward, all types of dumb, don't even know the timetables. Yeah, that's not the only way. It ain't.
Like I would want to be in that type of atmosphere. I do know that kids are sponges. And the years from 1 through 5 are like the most important years. By the time a child is 6, it already has the personality that it's going to be in. So what I would want to do is just mainly focus on that and focus on the fact that I want my child to know everything first and then let them go to the world, because we can do it like a United Nations. Let's come, like, I want Black people to be like a United Nations. We are a people and we can come negotiate with other people and talk to other people, but then we go home and what really matters is us. Like a religion. When you teach your kids religion, even if when they grow up and they're 18 and they learn that there's more than Christianity, they're not going to just change their religion. They're not going to change what they believe in because they see other people doing it unless it has results. So I just think that I would want us to have like a strong foundation of what we're teaching our kids. Even like if like I was trying to tell my nephew to go into computer science and he just turned 18, he just graduated from high school and he's like, I don't like computers. And I'm like, you work at Popeyes, do you like that? Sometimes it's not about what we like. It's about the fact that if you go into engineering, you can literally work from home and make $500,000 from just being at home and working on computers and stuff like that. So I just think that we should, like, I would want to remove myself from dominant society, even with just like music and movies and YouTube. I would want to control what's really being taught to my child at those impressionable years. I don't really want my daughter watching, you know what I'm saying, certain shows. I don't want my son watching certain things or knowing certain things or listening to certain things because I know that it's affecting them. I just really feel like, you know,
Yeah, the truck driver, man, she's deep, man. She's very deep.
Want to be emotionally healthy, physically healthy, mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, and financially literate. And that's what I would want to be able to teach my kids. But I'm still learning, you know, I'm still learning self-care and self-love and what it really truly means to care about yourself and love yourself and just to be healthy, to raise healthy kids. So I may be like fairy tale, but that's just what I want, just to teach my kids
you're
and to love them.
You're talking about nation building. That's what you're talking about. And that's something that I definitely like. That's what these conversations are for, you know. That's part of it. Like us getting the ground, like us trying to develop the groundwork so we can start nation building. And yeah, it might not happen within our lifetime, maybe, but we're planting the seeds for that. You know,
Right.
it's, you know, you plant the seed. So I think that is, I love what you're saying, you know. And so if ladies, do y'all have anything to add to that?
No, we're gonna move on for the ladies. All right. Then we're gonna get to the topic.
America, and we just want to
I
be.
I just pulled up some of my readings. That's all. But matter of fact, speaking of my readings, the article is CNN investigation exposes Russian troll farm in Ghana and Nigeria targeting Black Americans. Okay, so we were their targets.
We just want to be able to excel in America, right? And basically be paid what our ancestors was owed, right? And what we are owed. And that means reparations for slavery and Jim Crow, right? But then there's a greater Black agenda for all Black people in America. And I don't think that part gets tied in, right? It's not just all about those who you would consider descendants of slaves or freemen, right? There's also a second part to that, which is a Black agenda, because everybody that comes here deserves equity. But we believe reparations is specifically for the harms of slavery and Jim Crow, right? And that's what a lot of our political advocacy is tied around. And to me, this is like nothing new, right? Like throughout American history, you hear this even amongst Pan-Africanist scholars, right? That there's a difference between the creation of African Americans over here, right? Like we are an amalgamation of slaves and slave masters, right? And to some extent Indians as well. Even our DNA is different, our cultures is different, right? And we believe with that, like we can have a shared interest, but we can't globally all be the same, especially when the diaspora is not in unison, right? Like
Right, and it never was. They tried to be with the West Indies Federation, and so did the Pan-African Federations. They tried to be in unison, and they all flopped less than 4 years. They just could not get along with each other, but they're going to somehow get along with FBAs, right? Not happening. Waste of time. Nothing burger.
Africa is extremely tribal. It's a continent, 54 countries and like over 500 tribes, right? And I think they speak somewhere around 2,000 languages, right? And they have a lot of issues going on, like not just between states, but also like civil issues within states, right? And I think our best position is to get ourselves what we are owed here, right? We come from a great people. We built the greatest country in the world. We built a country where everybody else like immigrates to and tries to like get a foothold in this for success. But one thing I know is they don't see them as like just one big global group either, right? If that was true, right? Because we have Black student unions, right? They come over here, they start African student associations, right? We have the Black Caucus, which advocates for all Black people, right? But they started the African Immigrant Caucus. And you see this so on and so forth, right? Even me, like being in the Islamic community, being born Muslim and growing up in the Islamic community, what you'll see is like at first when the numbers is low, we'll all be at one masjid, right? As the numbers get bigger, they start to build masjids based off what nation they from. And then as that nation numbers get bigger, they start to branch off and build masjids based off what tribe they're from, right? And I respect that. I respect their difference in like how they want to do things. I don't think we get respected for being nationalists when we want to do things, right? And there's just a bunch of examples. I'll just give you one. When Lupita Nyong'o played a Nigerian character in this Africana show on HBO, she got a lot of pushback from Nigerians, right? they didn't just say she wasn't Nigerian. They said she wasn't Igbo. And it's disrespectful to have somebody that's not Igbo playing the Igbo character, right? And they talked about how she wanted to be able to speak the Igbo language properly and how she'd have an American accent, right? She's Kenya and this is Nigerian. When we push back from like Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman, right, which is one of our freedmen ancestors, heroine, everybody calls us xenophobic, right? And that's just one example, and we'll have more throughout this discussion, but it seems like everybody else can do a certain thing, right? But when we do it, it's like the whole diaspora comes down on us, right? Even our own people, and say you wrong. When they do it, we say we should be like them, but that doesn't even work out, because as soon as we do it, we get backlash, right? And I think like we have our own identity, we have our own culture, like we are a different group of people, right? Dr. Amos Brown said America is not just a nation, it's a nation of nations, right? And I think like so far we have failed, or we've gotten away from being our own tribal group, and that's what we did. Like ADOS or DOS or Freedmen's brought the focus back.
All right, our colleagues lost their power and they were keeping the time, so you got a few extra minutes there, but that's all good. Since more or less we had a home team bias, I guess, with the hosting here. Real quick, Brother Kamal, I guess you should go next, but I just want to remind folks in the chat that we agreed to have a civil grown folks conversation. So I just want to encourage people in the chat to do the same. And if there's confusion about who or why this is going on and who was here and why they're here, you all should probably just pay a little more attention and hold off on some of the hostilities, at least briefly. All right, Brother Kamal, I'm starting your clock, man. 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll say quickly, the reason I'm a part of the conversation is because I was tagged on Twitter with several other folks in terms of this is sort of like, I guess, different Twitter debates, which of course happens frequently. And then I just decided to join in a debate. And part of me joining in a debate, which I was hoping would be a civil debate on Twitter, was really more background for me on what are the sort of true beliefs of ADOS, right? Because it's not something that I know in terms of like I'd say the spectrum of beliefs. And so I wanted to try to gain that. And unfortunately, that went a little sideways at times. But hopefully right here, we can clean some of that up. So I would start by saying, I think there is some basis of some agreement from what I know about ADS and my own politics as a revolutionary nationalist and Pan-Africanist. So I definitely believe that Black people, particularly born in the South, brought up through slavery, constitute a people. I used to belong to an organization in which we called ourselves New Africans, right? As in we came through the European slavery, we survived slavery, we became a people, and therefore we have demands and we're demanding self-determination and so forth. So there are certain ideas that I think I do agree with. I think that there's reparations that are owed to Black people. But I also think in terms of what America is and what white supremacy is, there's reparations owed to Haitian people from the United States and other European powers, right? There's reparations owed to indigenous people, right, from this power and from other powers. So I don't necessarily think we have an exclusive claim, but I definitely think we have a claim and an important claim to push forward. And part of me also believes that there's no reason why we couldn't make those claims together, right? But I've never been a huge reparations person because I don't believe that whites, and this is even for like, in Cobra and folks who I probably have more aligned politics with, I've never believed that a white supremacist government, which I believe we live under, is ever going to give us resources.
Wait, what's this us talk? And that sounds like that Russian troll Pan African talk. You dig? White supremacist government will never, but that it's on record for paying out reparations. Man, what are you talking? You just got saying us. What's this us talk?
Enough to make us whole when they've spent all this time repressing and oppressing Black people and other people.
Yeah, but they got reparations though. Like that sounded stupid just now. Let me rewind that. He just contradicted himself.
Resources enough we live under is ever going to give us resources enough to make us whole when they've spent all this time.
Wait. A whole? What the fuck you talking about? Enough to make us whole? That's not part of the conversation. The part of just down, you know what I mean? We got a down payment number, 20 trillion, and yet they could start with an annual installments. I'll be whole after a while. They start with those annual installments, and I'll let you know when I'm whole. Fuck this nigga talking about. See, and this is what we talking about. Like tethers like this out here saying us, we, and FBA and ADOS, and nah, dude. You are trained up in one of those farms, those Russian troll farms in Ghana, Nigeria.
Repressing and oppressing
Now he's about
Black
to
people
contradict
and
himself.
other people around the world. And so when the brother talked about living in
but
under
the other folks around the world who were oppressed got reparations, so you just cooked yourself.
A capitalist system and therefore being a capitalist, I would reject that argument. If I lived under a dictatorship, doesn't mean I support the dictator. Doesn't mean I support the finances and the operations of the dictator. I don't support the U.S. government. I don't support how it's accumulated its wealth. I don't support the wars that the U.S. government has engaged in. I don't support the actions of the U.S. government in controlling wealth.
Yeah. He's one of those tethers that live in another country that be against capitalism, imperialism, neo-colonialism, one of those weirdos.
Therefore, even though I live here and have to survive here, it doesn't mean that I am one and the same with the government and with the country, which I think has oppressed and Jim Crow to slavery to second-class citizenship to Black codes and so forth. Those things are no accident. Those are the things that an oppressor does. And so there's no reason for me to think that, I'm not saying that you guys are completely saying this, but from other voices I've heard, that I should align myself with the very folks who I feel who have oppressed me in order to get the resources that I think I deserve
He
and
said the
or
same
owed,
thing over again.
And to do that and turn a blind eye, let's say, to the actions of the United States of America, both at home and abroad, just because I may be trying to get my own individual reparations, right? So I don't think that that's not only a principled strategy for me. I don't think it's an ideology that takes into effect what the U.S. government is. If the U.S. government was interested in creating equity and equality for all, it has the tools to have done that centuries ago. The role of the U.S. government in our lives is to use our excess labor, right? And when it doesn't need our excess labor, it's been to imprison us, to keep us poor and disempowered, and to use us as cheap labor, right? And that's still the role that Black people serve for the most part in this country, and that Black people and other working class people serve around the world to a European dominated capitalist system that exploits labor.
Shot clock timer.
So I wouldn't be comfortable only talking about, and again, this may not be the case for some of you on the call, but having these right-wing allies who say things like we don't need to respect other people's opinions because they're not quote unquote foundational Blacks, right? So I think
you goddamn right. Shut up. We definitely not respecting your opinion because you're not quote unquote Black, and stop saying us and we, and you're not foundational when it comes to reparations. You're not getting one penny, my boy. Not one penny. All right. And we definitely don't appreciate you speaking on our behalf.
I think as we walk down this road, the moment the oppressor sides with us, we have to rethink our strategy, because then
the moment the oppressor side with us, bro, what are you talking about, man? Whoever we got, so the Supreme Court, when it rules in our favor, that's the oppressor ruling our side and with us because it rules in our favor. See, family, this is that Russian troll farm talk right here. The oppressor, dude. Well, I don't know. That language is so old and outdated, man. No, we ain't got time for that, man. We ain't got time for that. Cut the check and get out the way.
We are not serving our people, we're serving some other folks.
All right, well, we lost our colleagues again, but that 5 minutes is up, so I'll continue to keep the time. And just if you don't hear my phone when it goes off, I'll just start waving it at the screen. So,
brother, does that mean I get to go twice? It was worth a
So-
shot. It was worth a shot.
Go twice for what? You just said the same thing in circles. You just repeat yourself 3-4 times. Like the dude act like he really made sense. Go twice for what?
So who is going to speak next?
I believe I was in the next in the order for the brother.
Sounds good.
I came into the discussion.
All right, that's the brother from the Freedmen. That's Naeem boy. That's Logic. That's Ali boy. Yeah, he's part of the University Freedmen University. However they name it. All right, so good. About time they got somebody sensible on there, and hopefully he cooked that tether who was acting like he's part of the we and us.
Because I am a staunch reparationist for my people. You know what I mean? I believe in justice. And one thing I want to get straight, right? When we talk about Pan-Africanism, right? I have no problems with Pan-Africanism as an ideal. My stepfather was one of the most prominent Pan-Africanists in the city.
And before you go on, let me shout out the chat. You got Jesse Paris, aka Che and Kruma, right? We got Breeze Omega, we got CRU, Royalty, hashtag FBA Grand Negus. We got V, we got Taya, Tay Carter. We have Donnie Williams in the building. We got I Am Sixth in the building. We got Breeze Omega. We got Kimberly Dooley, right? Let me scroll up some more. We got Renaissance Woman. She's the reason why we've been talking about this. The link she sent earlier. Good link, good link. Good change of direction for myself. Shun C in the building. We got Pinky Wells in the building. We got 420 Alien Age in the building. We have Salita Marie in the building. We have, come on. Let's scroll up. Amir Laster in the building. We got, who else can I see? Let's get it 004 in the building. Golden Brown. We got, Timothy, Satch, Ohio. Before I continue, okay. I think, but that's all I can see. I'm sure we got more, but that's all I can really see. CRU Royalty, hashtag FBA Grand Niga said my step pops was mentored by Haki Mad Hubuti, pure Pan-Africans, and step pops is getting on code with FBA Indigenous. Oh yeah, definitely. That's what's up. Jesse Paris, aka Che and Kruma says B1, salute Ron. CRU Royalty Breeze, shouting out people. Salute to you. Black Feather Archery is up this late night. Peace to you. Grand night to you.
City of Chicago. My family has been running the African Festival for over 30 years. So Pan-Africanism as an idea is fine. But when we're talking about American politics, we have to understand what having an African-centered perspective does to your American politics. In order to be effective in American politics, you need to have an American-centered perspective. That's the only way you're going to have your eye on the ball. If you have an African-centered perspective, that is going to cloud your political vision here in America. What am I saying, right? Understand that when we talk about reparations, we're talking about repair for specific harms for a specific people. We're not saying no one else deserves any justice. The brother Kamal, what's your name, brother Franklin? I can't see the first name, but brother Franklin was talking about Haitian people have come here and they have experienced
Polo styles. If they experience any harm, they gotta hold their own nuts and do something about it. But you can't hop on our reparations claim.
Oppression and certain different things, and that's fine. And if there's a justice claim, which I'm sure there is, it can be constructed properly. And I believe that, Black immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, or immigrants from around the world who come to America and experience injustice can construct a intelligent justice claim and exercise their grievance.
Right. And go ahead and do a civil suit and sue your state or city or whoever's harming you. V, $5 super chat or super sticker. I think that's it. Keep it up is the message. Peace to you. Thank you very much. Lineage love in the building this late night.
The United States of America. The issue comes in when we're doing something specific. When we're talking about the atrocities that our family members understand that our family members face from chattel slavery, emancipation, and the freedmen who were forced from the South from white terror, white violence, and state oppression, and had to be forced up north, making the strongest and the most powerful among us, the men mostly, had to separate from their parents, their family, leave their young ones down south, depleting our political power in the South and being forced up north. That happened to us. That didn't happen to people in Haiti. That didn't happen to people in Nigeria. That didn't happen to the Fulani or the Mandinka or any of those African nations. So what we're so if we are asking for specific grievances for specific cases, when we talk about the 85 years of lynching, that was predominantly our people.
Right.
Most African immigrants weren't even here during those times. We know by the data, and we do data as reparationists. We understand that before the Immigration Act, and about 1980, the presence of Black immigrants outside of students was to the right of a decimal point. So we understand that there wasn't, when we talk about the atrocities that we're seeking justice for, it was really a relationship between the freedmen. And when I say freedmen, I'm talking about the emancipated persons who come out of chattel slavery and their descendants, their sons and daughters. You understand? When we talk about 1877, the period from 1877 to 1950, when we're talking about over 4,000 recorded lynchings, we're talking about our family members. We're not talking about a large group of immigrants that had to experience those atrocities. When we're talking about the Great Migration that forced families when they didn't want to move, and they really shouldn't even be called a migration. It's the Great Refuge, because we were really refugees fleeing from white terror, white violence, and domestic terrorism and state oppression. We had to flee north, leaving our families, our political majorities, and all of that stuff behind. So we're having an argument with our government about specific atrocities, state and federal sanctioned atrocities, you understand, for specific harms to a specific people. Now, if you are a fan of justice and you support justice, anybody should get behind that. Now, you can't talk about xenophobia and say we're being xenophobic because we're trying to address a specific harm and say, and use the whole way, your African brothers and sisters. If my brother is in a car accident and I'm not in that car, I'm not going to get any money.
Family, and that's why I did a live on that the other day. Check the archives about, I think it's called Great Migration, something like that. But I gave the correct context of what happened with that. And I don't like when they use terms like flee, refugee, all those terms. We have the right to move around. So, for example, Breeze Omega, is it fleeing when we say white flight? Did they flee? Did white Americans flee when we say white flight? Okay, they said Great Migration. What about white flight? Did they flee? So yeah, so that's why the flee word is reserved for folks that immigrate over here. We have the right to move around within our country, just like a Nigerian. If they move from West Nigeria to East Nigeria, that's not fleeing. You're in Nigeria. You got the right to move around in your country. If you're from, let's say, Ghana, and you move from the north to the south, the north to the east, you're not fleeing in Ghana. You're moving around in your country. So it's not fleeing when we move around our country. For whatever reason. I don't give a damn if there's a bunch of lions chasing after us. We're not fleeing. We're moving around our country. Fleeing is a term reserved for when you move from one country to a whole nother country. Your taxes are leaving your country, right? The money is leaving your country. The workforce is leaving the country. The country can no longer benefit from you at all again because you're not there, right? Our country still benefits from me, whether I'm in New Jersey, California, Oklahoma. The country will benefit from my presence being here in the country, right? So no, it's not the same when you leave your country behind. I'm still in America, making my country great and greater, regardless. New Jersey, California, Oklahoma. I'm still in my country, making it greater. If you leave your country, you're not. If I move to Japan, I'm not making America greater. All right. So y'all leave your country, y'all flee, y'all fled. You're not making your country greater. You're making our country greater You're a fleer. Big difference.
Money from that insurance claim. You understand? Even though we're related, I wasn't a victim of the accident. You understand? Now, if I get into another accident, it can be on the same road. Then I have to construct my insurance claim with my insurance company. You understand? So that is similar to the justice claim that we're talking about with reparations. If immigrants have come over here and they say that they have experienced oppression by the hands of the U.S. government, they need to construct a justice claim for that, but they cannot shoehorn that into our justice claim, which is very specific. And I yield my time.
Just think about that, family. I'm in New Jersey. I moved to Atlanta. I'm fleeing, according to a tether. Somebody in California relocates to New York. They're fleeing to a tether. I know that's not fleeing, man. It's just like you said, that's just called relocating. It's called moving. We got a term for that. It's called moving. Like I'll say, hey, Breeze Omega, where you live now? And you be like, yo, Florida. I'm going to say, oh, when did you move? I'm not going to say, oh, when did you flee? It's just stupid shit. But if you are in Jamaica and you're in America, we are definitely going to ask, hey, man, when did you flee?
There was no time to yield. You used your time and used it well. So well done. I'm gonna go ahead and go because Kalanji was coming in and out. I don't know if he heard everything, so I'll give him a chance to catch up on a round or two.
Kimberly says only fleeing when you're hopping on boats.
Now, so there's a couple things that I think are. I just want to take my time in this initial round, at least to clarify. One. The so-called founders of the ADOS movement are not here, primarily because, from my own perspective, I've engaged with them for years, going back to before they were ADOS, and they have proven to not be serious or interested in civil exchange. I've tried for years. Their response has been to lie, to create videos that tell further lies, to even go after my job, which is kind of, Detroit. Unfortunate, but silly as an attempt. Even
I moved.
Who needs to mute? Who needs to mute? Because I'm.
As a matter of fact, check this out, family. There's laws in America. When you move to one state to another, you gotta renew your license. You gotta update your license to the new state that's within the same country. You gotta update your registration to the new state. Your voter ID. You can no longer vote in New York. You got to now have a voter ID that match, let's say, Wyoming or wherever you move to. Right? Yeah. So our country demands certain things out of you, right? If a tether moves from Zimbabwe to America, Zimbabwe is not going to demand that Zimbabwean do something in America. Like they have no jurisdiction. No, our American government is still going to say, hey, you got to pay taxes. Definitely federal. You're definitely paying federal. And you still have your same constitutional rights, tethers. When we moved from California to Wyoming to Minnesota to Oklahoma, we still have our constitutional rights. We still have our legacy. We're still Foundation Black Americans. You dig? In this country. So everything stays the same. I don't know why you guys think something changes. Everything stays the same. We're still 43 million deep. So if I move from Texas to Massachusetts, the 43 million number doesn't go anywhere. It's still 43 million.
I'm getting too much echo. Anyway, so that was why. So for years I had tried to broker a relationship with them. I had appeared on their platform, or at least on Yvette's platform, supported her work. She had appeared on mine when I was, doing.
All right. So before you go on, let's get to these troll farms. Okay. So back in June 2019, a Ghanaian nonprofit front called Eliminating Barriers to the Liberation of Africa, Ebola or Ebola, is established, right? Marking the start of the Russian-linked troll operation. Ebola claimed to be a human rights NGO and began recruiting staff under the guise of social media activism. Its website later showed inconsistent founding dates and placeholder content hinting at deceptive origins. You know how tethers do, they stay being deceptive. By mid-late 2019, that same year, this is right before the pandemic, dozens of fake social media accounts are created by EBLA operatives with a major burst of activity in the second half of 2019. EBLA's Facebook page is launched on October 1st, 2019, posting content aimed at foundational Black American topics. Okay. During this period, the Ghana-based team, mostly youth in their 20s, works out of a rented compound in Accra, posing online as Black American activists. Okay, some employees live in a nearby apartment rent-free, and are equipped with mobile phones, not laptops, to carry out the trolling campaign. In late 2019, the operation begins expanding to Nigeria. A second branch of the troll farm is open in Nigeria a few months after the Ghana branch started. EBLA advertises on social media for staff with experience in social media management in Nigeria, gathering thousands of responses from thousands of tethers. This indicates an attempt to scale the operation regionally while maintaining its focus on U.S. issues. In January 2020, EBLA attempts to recruit operatives inside the U.S. Are they linking up with tethers in the U.S.? The group posts a job listing on LinkedIn seeking a chapter coordinator in Charleston, South Carolina. I guess they don't realize they need to mean tethers in South Carolina, definitely not in Charleston. According to U.S. investigators, this recruitment attempt ultimately failed. Right? How you gonna recruit tethers? And you could tell they don't know any better. Like if they were smart, they would have been recruiting in New York, Florida, Texas. You dig? Anyway, it failed. What else happened here? Okay, so February 2020, the operation faces disruption. Ghanaian security services raid EBLA's headquarters in Accra after Ghana's authorities were alerted to suspicious online activities. Following the raid in late February, the troll accounts abruptly stopped posting. Okay, so around the same time, Twitter and Facebook moved to suspend the network's accounts as evidence of coordinated, inauthentic behavior amounts. Twitter removed 71 accounts with 68,000 total followers. A lot of people, a lot of tethers was following this thing, operating out of Ghana and Nigeria that had been posing as U.S.-based individuals. Facebook likewise prepared to take down dozens of accounts and pages associated with EBLA. Okay, so CNN published an exclusive investigation revealing the Ghana Nigerian troll farm to the world. Okay, so even though CNN is liberal, CNN was honest, ousting this farm, this troll farm backed by Russia. See? CNN's months-long investigation done in collaboration with researchers from Clemson University and Graphica confirms that Russian operatives had outsourced part of their 2020 election meddling to West Africa. Damn. Okay, so a lot of Facebook discloses that the activity was traced to local recruits in Ghana and Nigeria working on behalf of individuals in Russia, including links to Russia's infamous Internet Research Agency, IRA. Internet Research Agency, IRA. Okay, all right. Got that. So the Russian operation employed a novel tactic of outsourcing its troll farm. They call it troll farm to Ghana and Nigeria. They knew right exactly which African countries would mess with this. I'm saying there's no love lost with these Africans. They sold us. First of all, they stole us. Then they sold us, and there's no love lost. Like you just can count on them to undermine us every time. Ghana apologize for their role in slavery. We know Nigeria had their role. Then no love lost. We're undermined on the first chance for Fort Bag. You know, dude riding around in red Benz, getting paid to undermine us. What else happened? Any So according to CNN, as the trolls were better disguised by their West African locale. Okay. I want to see if there's anything. Mm-hmm. This is crazy. It's a lot. Um, so many, look at this. Many Ghanaians hired, believe. Listen, uh, many Ghanaians hired believe they were simply doing online advocacy or cyber activism. Listen, for a Pan African cause. They had no idea they were actually becoming Russian trolls. Family, one more time. This is the research. I didn't make this up. I didn't add to the research. Many of the Ghanaians hired believed they were simply doing online advocacy or cyber activism for a Pan African cause. Afrikaans, Africlowns, Africants, Africans cause, and had no idea they were actually becoming Russian trolls. Okay, Facebook later said the network included both witting and unwitting participants. Some local recruits knew what they were doing, while others were duped by the NGO cover story. Once on board, the recruits were trained to operate fake personas targeting U.S. audiences. One former employee told CNN that during training, they were taught to use relevant hashtags and not mix unrelated topics. Okay. Let's see what else is here. Communication among the troll team and with their superiors was done through encrypted channels, Telegram app groups, which is uncommon in Ghana, but provided secure instructions from abroad. This encrypted coordination allowed the Russian handlers or Wiredu himself to deliver daily directives on what content to push. And you know they was anti-FBA, anti reparations, and pro Pan-Africanism and everything else they push. The trolls created numerous fake profiles across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, often masquerading as Black Americans from various U.S. cities. Let me read that one more time, family. The trolls created numerous fake profiles across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, often masquerading as Black Americans from various U.S. cities. They were given topical assignments and quotas. For example, one recruit might exclusively run an account that posts about police violence, another about Black feminist issues, another about general African American culture, which is FBA. Okay. I mean, you know, that is anything general. That's reparations. That's all our talking points. The number of people you reach, and especially how many followers they could accumulate. Employees were encouraged to grow each persona's audience by posting frequently and provocatively. The entire effort was structured much like the original St. Petersburg troll factory. Multiple operatives, each running sock puppet accounts, all pushing content that played into a larger strategy of sowing division, family, they say, "Oh, UFBs are divisive," when these folks are getting paid multiple operatives, each running socket puppet accounts, all pushing content that played into a larger strategy of sowing division, divisiveness. And they talk about the guy, Mr. Amara, the guy you seen the uh, on the channel. Mm. And these some disgusting people, man. The trolls didn't just post in isolation, they actively infiltrated real online communities and conversations. On Facebook, they targeted existing groups focused on Black American interests. And you know, we were talking about reparations in 2019 and 20 and so on. And they were focused on Black American interests. Okay. Okay, watch this. Listen, family, look at the bullet point. Agitation and division. As the network gained count, it says agitation and division. And they say, "Oh, you FBAs, you cause division." They're literally getting paid by Russian troll farms to agitate and divide. As the network gained confidence, some content became more openly agitational and militant in tone. Clemson University researchers who tracked the operation said the trolls were very closely engaged in Black Lives Matter discussions, yet curiously disconnected from any African context, indicating a foreign agenda at play. Oh my God, a foreign agenda. Yo, these tethers, yo. So Darren Linville, one of the Clemson analysts, observed that the campaign talked almost exclusively about what was happening on the streets of the United States and not on the streets of Africa. But they claim they're not thinking about us. They talk about it's 50-50. Oh, it goes both ways. Okay. Posts often express searing anger at systemic racism, sometimes hinting that institutional change via normal politics was futile. Yeah, so you heard these guys talk, hey, reparations, man, if you can't take it, what you mean take it? You know, like actually shoot it out, you know, get guns. Okay, yep. Russian troll. Okay, hold on.
Interview work elsewhere. So, we have a long history, and then we have a private relationship, at least where I was trying to, for a time, broker in a positive way her engagement because I supported her and Tone's work for a long time. It was only when they took a very anti-Pan-African in a hostile way position and then turned personal against me and some of my colleagues and comrades that I felt it was unnecessary and worthless to try to communicate with them any further. And clearly they feel the same way, other than Yvette crashing my Clubhouse book talk a couple weeks ago to, again, even when I graciously invited her up on the so-called stage, she just went right into innuendo, lies, and falsehoods. So there's no need to engage on that basis, especially when people like me and others have been engaged with this work for so long. Our track records are clear. But at our mixwithilike.org, there's so much more on this in the history of my engagement with them if folks really want to follow up on that. The reason I, at least speaking for myself, agreed to this conversation was because one, as Brother Ibrahim said, he reached out directly and said, we seem to talk about ADOS and not to ADOS, which is factually incorrect, but still he can't, when he brokered the conversation and his crew expanded online, it was done so with enough, at least, civility in their immediate exchange that I thought, okay. And then particularly there was the issue that you all expressed that you were not in line or lockstep with the founders of ADOS. So as some in the chat have even raised, I think it would be good if some of you would further clarify your relationship to ADOS. If you are not in ADOS, why are you here speaking on their behalf, as someone was asking? But from my point of view and interest, I would want to hear more about that split, as someone pointed out, similar to the one that exists, as I understand it, between the founders of Black Lives Matter and many of the people in the streets doing the work. That said, I don't think that there has been, part of my initial approach to the founders was initially when I saw their criticism of Pan-Africanism, my initial reaction was to say, before we get into a debate about it, on what terms are you defining Pan-Africanism? There's a lot of versions of Pan-Africanism. So I was initially asking that they isolate and explain. They seem to dismiss all forms and to pick, isolated, as I'm hearing even here tonight, isolated cherry-picked examples to sort of make a point. So there is Pan-Africanism as a politics and a tactic, which is actually in some ways selfish and been long part of an understanding among Black people struggling here and elsewhere, that it's not about just some blind friendship or some holding hands. It's about a tactical arrangement to garner support for individual struggles on the inside. There is zero evidence. There is zero exception and zero evidence to support the zero exceptions to Black history in the United States, where so-called advances have occurred that did not involve some sort of internationalist perspective. So to now say that whether reparations or any other goal is the claim, to do so without a Pan-African or international.
I don't know what they're talking about, but let me finish. Posts often express searing anger. I already read that part. Look at this. The undertone of the campaign was deeply cynical about the U.S. government and social system by pushing the narrative that America is irredeemably oppressive. America will never pay out reparations. It's irredeemably oppressive. It's a white supremacist, government. It's a fascist police state, and that nothing changes. The trolls were effectively seeding disillusionment that could discourage just people in general about anything.
Nationalist perspective is tactically flawed. Never mind some fantasy about relationships. It's just a tactical flaw. That's something that I don't hear being explained or defined well enough by ADOS supporters, and as they look to explain and condemn variations of Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism does not mean that Black people in the United States accept all forms of abuse and just blindly express solidarity for others. There is a reciprocal arrangement, and within the Pan-African community, there's plenty of bias and debate and discussion about where are you not helping us and where are we not helping you, and all that stuff goes on. So, but again, so it's a tactic and a philosophy, not just some sort of blind fantasy that is often simplified and made into some anti-reparations type of claim. All right, my time is up. I hope I'll do a better job in another round. But
yeah, what did you say,
I'm assuming that it is it Derek or Chad who's up next?
He said a whole bunch of nothing.
Your next round.
What that was about?
I can go next here.
Okay,
so
you're on the clock. Go ahead, my man.
Put me on the clock. So thank you, Dr. Ball.
With the raccoon on top of his
one
head.
thing I would like to point out is that in listening to you, you spent a lot of time there talking about people who aren't here, right? And the folks who are here, we're here to speak about reparations. And I would hope that we can remove any bad emotion from this conversation and have a productive conversation that centers on reparations. I'm a pragmatist. That is at the core of who I am. And so I'm guided by practical considerations, and I allow data to inform my decision making. I try not to get bogged down in emotion. I try not to get distracted by amorphous idealism or things that are not rooted in validated fact. And I try not to deal too much in theoreticals. So I'm hoping that what we can do here is move past any past emotion, and we can have a constructive conversation about how we move forward and agree on the mission of reparations. And so to that point, to address Mr. Franklin, I heard several points of agreement that I have with you. Number one, you agreed that the folks who descended out of United States chattel slavery are a unique group. They are a specific and unique group here in that country, and that's the core of what we are saying here as reparationists, is that we do have a specific language or lineage that is owed a specific debt, as you heard Logic say, given specific actions by the United States government over the course of 250 plus years. So we are not here talking against.
Hold on, before you finish, it says their messages. So the troll, the West African Ghanaians and Nigerians, their messages range from empowering to enraging, celebrating black culture one moment, lamenting or inciting over police killings the next, all calibrated to manipulate black American audiences. Thanks to vigilant researchers, journalists, and tech companies, the scheme was exposed and dismantled before it could do more damage. However, it stands as a stark reminder of the lengths to which Russia's disinformation apparatus will go, outsourcing troll farms across the globe to inflame America's social divides from the shadows. And the people who sold us, the descendants of the people who sold us, were willing participants. How can we help you, Mr. Russian? How can we? Oh, Black Americans? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. How much? And matter of fact, just just sign me up. I might do it for free. I can undermine those foundation Black Americans. Like they have a deep rooted hatred for us, man. That's like it's like almost like a white supremacist, deep rooted hatred for us. It just cannot be explained.
Any other group. And one of the things I also heard you say, Mr. Franklin, was, there are other groups that have legitimate claims of reparations, likely against the United States government and of other governments around the world. I agree with you. I think that, those are fights that we would be very supportive of. In fact, we see that already occurring with the CARICOM, right? But CARICOM is showing us that they understand the specificity required in pursuing a justice claim. You don't see CARICOM reaching out and saying, Black Americans, we're going to include you in our claim against our oppressors, again, for our reparations,
At
right?
all.
No, they're being very specific in what they're doing because they understand that specificity in a justice claim is essential. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's not an exclusive argument that we're making, but it is a discrete argument for reparations that we're making. The other thing that I heard said was that you don't believe that a white supremacist government will ever give us the resources to make us whole. And I have to say, I wholly reject that argument.
Ain't that hold on. Yeah, the dude that just he just repeated the troll, and that was verbatim the play from the troll farm. Yo, look, that's crazy, yo.
You don't believe we're making. The other thing that I heard said was
Look, and the person who said it was right here. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight the person who said it. So when he speak on it, you guys can keep this guy in mind. I'm gonna put a red oval on him to represent Russia. Okay, listen.
that you don't believe that a white supremacist government will ever give us the resources to make us whole. And I have
family. I just read that verbatim from the. Let me read it again. I just read that verbatim. Some of the talking points that they were trained to say. Damn, he said it exactly. Exactly the playbook. Oh, white supremacists, racial won't ever give us justice. Let me go find that one more time. That is crazy, yo. He took the playbook. Look how guilty he looks. He took the playbook right from the troll farm. Hold on. Let me do that one more time. Let me see. It was in parentheses. It was like a fascist. I could find it real fast. I'm being lazy. Okay, you know what? I'm being lazy. Hold on. Yo, the dude literally said what the Russian farm trained him to say. And the dude said, I reject that. Okay. It's crazy. It says such rhetoric invoking fascism and hopelessness was intended to amplify feelings of victimization and cynicism in the black community, family. Look, the undertone of the campaign, here we go. The undertone of the campaign was deeply cynical about the US government and social system by pushing the narrative that America is irredeemable, oppressive, fascist police state, and that uh nothing changes. That language, this dude right here got his head down, said damn near that play by play. Listen.
I have to say I wholly reject that. One thing that I heard said was that you don't believe that a white supremacist government will ever give us the resources to make us whole. And I have to say I wholly reject that argument. I can't make an argument for not fighting because of what you think the expectation of the result would be. If that was the case, we would likely all still be enslaved in this country, because there were those on those plantations who said, why are you fighting? Why are you attempting to escape? You'll never be free. The institution of slavery will continue on into perpetuity. So you should just get comfortable with it. So I have to say, I wholly reject that argument, and that we must fight for justice wherever there is injustice. And we cannot take the fact that we don't see probability in that as a reason not to fight. The other thing that I heard.
Yeah, this Russian troll right here literally just said that. Oh, we'll never get reparations. This racist government, so don't even try. And this dude is the furthest thing from an FBA.
Was that you felt we were turning a blind eye to the actions of the U.S. abroad. So the imperialism of the U.S. abroad and in other
Russian
countries.
Troll talk.
And I also have to say that I reject that argument as well.
Right.
And
Russian
I
troll
do so
talk.
from the basis of understanding that justice and the way that justice springs is not a big bang event. It doesn't happen spontaneously overnight. There's a series of events that lead up into a goal. So you take the 1950s and the sit-ins movement that led into the 1960s and the protests that happened in the streets, which then led to the Civil Rights Acts of the 60s and the Voting Rights Act of the 60s. So it wasn't a spontaneous combustion event that happened overnight.
And I'm glad he said that, because that is another talking point of the Russian trolls like Dr. Mayat, Reggie, and Unc, and all those, people from Sunday TV. Those Russian trolls would be like, well, what did FBA do? What did ADOS do? It's like, well, what could we do in 7 years, 7 years? What are we supposed to do? It took the first civil rights 100 years. It's going to take the second one 100 years, or maybe 100 years, maybe sooner. But why are we in a rush? Like you said, it's a process. Like these things, it took 100 years to sabotage us. Why would it take 7 years to overcome it? Like, why is there a time frame period? The whole thing is where we are activists. Like, we are in it for the long run, if that may. Like in boxing, you got Mike Tyson out there can knock people on 2 seconds, and you got Floyd Mayweather, somebody who can stand their ground, dominate for 12 rounds. So sometimes you train for both. Like, we're training for both. We're training for maybe a reparations payout next year, and maybe one for my great grandchildren. Like, whatever. As long as they get done, the mission accomplished.
It was an order of operation that would not have occurred if that first domino had not fallen, if that first sit-in had not occurred, that then led to the marches, that then led to what we now see as legislation and we can point to as the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, et cetera. So I think we also have to understand that justice, there's an order of operation to this. And what you heard Brother Logic say was that we are at the spearhead, at the tip of that spear here as Black Americans who are at the proverbial belly of the beast. And so we find justice here, just as you saw in 2010 with the Arab Spring event. Justice in one region begets justice in another region. So our argument is that reparations here specifically for this group, and you agree that we are a specific group and that we are owed a specific redress, justice for us will beget justice throughout the diaspora. So as a Pan-Africanist, I think that should be at the core of your ideals if what you're searching for truly is justice throughout the diaspora. And I'm done.
Right on, right on. Well said. All right, brother Derek. No, brother Kalanji, you up. You on the clock.
Kalanji.
First of all, my apologies. We're in our community house, and for some reason, all of a sudden, the electricity started glitching, and we was knocked off. But that's neither here nor there. Boom, reparations. I didn't get to hear too much of what you guys were talking about. However, I got bits and pieces. I've always been somewhat confused because when we talk about reparations for Africans in America and we exclude brothers and sisters across the diaspora, I
already knew a name like Kalanji. Now look, let me put a red. I gotta put one on these guys, these Russian trolls. Again. Yeah, you really can't just make this up. This is wild, yo. Yeah, we are seeing the Russian trolls in play, in action. I just showed you the list. This is the Russian troll list. Is to act like diaspora wars is both-sided, act like the freedman status is you can't use it in court, change the topic to African booty scratcher, which is a great, perfect name. Say we should fight for state reparations, not federal. Make up a Black City plan, which is a complete garbage, waste of time. Support AAU hijacking our reparations. Call us African Americans like he just did. Say we're divisive, xenophobic. Push for race-based reparations and lie and say Africans didn't sell us. And right now he's doing this right here and he's doing this right here. So he's doing two of the three right off the bat. Yeah, this guy said add people from the diaspora and our reparations claim. And the brother right here just said CARICOM isn't adding diaspora people to their reparations claim. So why the smoke is just for us? Why not, CARICOM? How come the diaspora ain't getting in this? Why you guys being exclusive? Why you guys sticking to the lineage-based package? Why you guys ain't expanding to the race-based package? So we got two Russian bots, Russian trolls here. One more time.
It all for Africans in America, and I've always been somewhat confused because when we talk about reparations for Africans in America and we exclude brothers and sisters across the diaspora, it always made me wonder. I'm like, okay, so where did we come from? Okay, if we came from the continent and we were taken from the continent along with all the other resources, the people that should be
family, do not fall for that. Okay, he just, I'm so glad he said that word. Hold on. And it was okay, I think that's the main ones. Okay, family, this is what I forgot. Thank you for that one, sir. Right here. When you use this terminology right here, you are absolving Africa's role. Taken, you're trying to say white folks took us. They'll say stolen, white folks stole us, and they'll say kidnapped, white folks stole us. Family, all these actions are from Africans themselves. Okay, all the Africans took us, stole us, kidnapped us, and then sold us to the white man. So listen to his language. I'm so glad he said that. I'm adding to the list of what Russian trolls would say about us.
Call, it always made me wonder. I'm like, okay, so where did we come from? Okay, if we came from the continent and we were taken from the continent along with all the other resources,
who took us? So my question to him would be, who took us? That he wants hum mush mouth is like, yo, Africans, right? Well, you know what I mean? Come on.
the people that should be calling for reparations should be the Africans on the continent. They should be calling to get their people back, getting us back, getting.
Wait, but why would they get us back? They sold us. That's out. Like there's no, we're not their people. You don't sell your people. Just like the white man sold us, and he didn't look at us as his people. When you sell somebody, when you sell a human being, that's not your people, man. Okay, that's the op. That's the POW. That's somebody else. That's opposition. That's the enemy. Right? Africans sold us because they felt like that, and so did the white man sold us because they felt like that, dude. No, that's not gonna work. This Pan-African talk ain't gonna work.
Are taken from the continent along with all the other resources. The people that should be calling for reparations should be the Africans on the continent. They should be calling to get their people back, getting us back, getting our resources back, so on and so forth. So we're going to make an argument talking about reparations. Us just talking about, you know, we're going to get some land here or some trinkets or some type of concessions just won't work. The second thing, if we're talking about reparations, the first.
My man said trinkets. Like, look how he minimized, undermined the reparations. This dude said trinkets. I don't recall 20 trillion as a down payment being a trinket. So many white supremacists are butthurt over that number, talking about the economy is going to crash. But that's not a trinket. All right. But continue, Russian troll.
Order of operations should be the liberation of our political prisoners. We should be calling for the freedom of our political prisoners because of the fact that they are soldiers, they are warriors who sacrificed before many of us were born. Before
I
many
have no idea what you're talking about. If your political prisoners was pushing Pan-Africanism ideas, they're not a political prisoner. They are a Russian troll, and they committed treason, and the American government locked their ass up, you know, because they work for the Russian government.
of us came on the set, before many of us came up with any type of titles, or before many of us even were conceived as a whole. When we talk about reparations, oftentimes we talk about concessions, and we confuse concessions with advancement. And I think that with what I've understood from members of ADOS or the ADOS, you know, again, I don't know where all you guys stand because of the fact that now I'm hearing that most of you aren't members of that particular hashtag movement, as you called it now. So, you know, I'm not quite sure as to where you stand, but the thing is, we're talking about being 13-14% of the US population, right? And we're talking about demanding reparations. We're talking about demanding money. We're talking about demanding land, so on and so forth.
Let me guess. We got to take it. We got to get an army militia and take it. If he says that, family, I'm done. If he says, yeah, but we ain't gonna go take it, then it ain't nothing there. If he says that, and y'all don't believe this Russian troll stuff, there's nothing that would convince you. Maybe you're a Russian troll. If he sit here and say, we got to form an army and take it, I'm done.
That we can't defend. So even if they gave us whatever it is that you asked for, we don't have the ability to defend what it is we're doing.
Oh, shit.
So it would only be, it seemed to me it would be intelligent if we were to unite with our African brothers and sisters across the diaspora, because of the fact that it calls for a united front. Imagine,
yeah, they owe us too, though. They were coming to them next. Bro, we can't unite with people who owe us money and who sold us and bought us. Oh, yeah, that's out. I'm definitely not uniting with nobody who sold us or bought us. Like, I don't know why they look at one person better than the other. Bro, they're both culpable. They're both guilty. They're both ops. They both got a lot to prove. You dig? And they can start with their payments first. First thing to do, if you want to head towards reconciliation and making amends, well, we can start with the payouts and some tangible, some land and shit like that, but resources. But let's get the money going first. But this whole forgive Africa, for everything that they were involved in that led to everything we experienced. It's not happening.
Imagine if the continent with 54, 55 countries decided that they would call for reparations. Look at the power and the force behind that, opposed to a few of us. We speak as if, you know, Africa is like Africa is all together and it's just this one big continent and everybody's all for it. And America, Africans in America are all together and everybody's just uniting around those particular issues. And we know that that's BS. So even when we talk about 13, 14% of the population, we all don't agree on basic shit. We don't even agree on our stance and our politics here now. So
we're on code. You guys, we don't agree with you guys because you guys are ops, man. You're Russian trolls, bro.
That means less than 13, 14%. So to me, it always appeared that this particular movement was sort of a sidetracking of the slave type program. You know what I mean? It seems like to me that it takes you off the offense and puts you on the defense. We're talking about revolution ultimately. And if we're speaking on revolution, we're not going to achieve.
There you go, family, revolution, army, take it, military, resistance. What I tell you? This is the playbook of the talking points that was coming from the Russian troll farms in Ghana and Nigeria, and he's quoting it verbatim, like this dude below him.
Or attain any real.
Let me find out this whole row. We don't know, we ain't hear him yet, but let me find out this whole row are from Ghana's and Nigeria's Russian troll farm.
Goals by asking or quote unquote demanding without any type of power or show of force from a people who have proven to be our enemies.
Family, did I just call it? Did I just call it? Did I just say that he's going to imply that we take it? If you're not convinced that they are from the Russian troll farms, then you're probably from it too. He just said what I said he was going to say. He just talked about taking reparations as though he's ever bust a grape. And now he's saying the white supremacists are our enemies, but the white supremacists, they bought us from Africans. So if there's a deal, right, and we're in the middle of it, both parties are benefiting from the deal. We are the only ones suffering. How do we choose one over the other? No, both of you are our ops, bro. The white supremacists and the African booty scratchers, both of you are our ops. We don't trust either one of you. But family, I called it. He's going to say, stop asking for reparations and take it. He just did it.
Goals by asking or quote unquote demanding without any type of power or show of force from a people who have proven to be our enemies. You know, we will continue to be laughed at. And the only reparations that I see coming from the states right now at this point in time would be a stimulus.
Did he say, family, did he say reparations coming from the states? Let me show my checklist again from the Russian troll talking points. State reparations. We're looking for federal reparations, little buddy. But look, he's checking all of the talking points off. And Putin gonna make sure you get that red BMW.
Proven to be our enemies. You know, we will continue to be laughed at. And the only reparations that I see coming from the states right now at this point in time would be a stimulus check, food stamps, or WIC. That's about it. Medicaid.
Now, that was a talking point from the video I played earlier from Brother Reggie, another Pan-Africanist Russian troll. That's what he was talking about. He said, that's what he said the federal bureau was to us. He said it was welfare, it was WIC, and all those things. But his buddy that was on the podcast with him said that his family still receive assistance from that bureau or something close to it. And it's like, well, is your man family collecting welfare? You dig? Family, these guys are equating reparations to state welfare, federal welfare. These guys, what are we doing, man? Really?
That's the only reparations you're getting from this government. and anything else is like is really a foolish notion. I'm really, like I said, I'm baffled and confused. And up until this very moment, I really didn't believe that you all believe what you believe.
Okay, so let me read the talking points of what you were trained to say under the Russian troll farms in Ghana and Nigeria. It says the undertone of the campaign was deeply cynical about the U.S. government and social system by pushing the narrative that America is irredeemably oppressive, fascist police state, and nothing changes. You won't get nothing out of this country. That's exactly what he said, damn near verbatim. I'm reading verbatim from the agenda at the Russian trolling farms, and he just said that.
And the only reparations that I see coming from the states right now at this point in time would be a stimulus check, food stamps, or WIC. That's about it. Medicaid. Part. That's the only reparations you're getting from this government. And anything else is like is really a foolish notion. I'm really, like I said, I'm baffled and confused. And up until this very moment, I really didn't believe that you all believe what you believe. I thought you all was just kidding. You understand what I'm saying? But I see that you seem to be serious. You know, so I'm looking. You know, I see you brothers, and you all appear to be intelligent. You appear to be strong African men and women. But I'm taken aback when it comes to this whole, you know, separatist type thing, especially when we're talking about this whole capitalism situation, because of the fact that I noticed a lot of folks are confused.
More Russian troll farm talking point: capitalism, imperialism, neocolonialism. He was trained well in Burkina Faso. He was trained well. Okay, this your man right here. That's your man. Yeah, this dude was trained well in these talking points. God damn, he's good. Yeah, he remember everything.
By capitalism, I did get to hear one of the brothers say something about you know, if you get a check on Friday and so on and so forth. I mean, that sounds nice. And I think I heard Kamal mention something to the fact that you know,
bro,
that
the horn means you got to be quiet, bro. You're done.
We don't have to live under we don't have to live under capitalism we don't have to be capitalists to live under that particular system.
Now now he waved him off once his thing sound. When he's talking, why you didn't wave him off?
Right. Anyway, my time's up, and forgive me for ranting, but I got thrown off with the whole.
No, we're not gonna forgive you for ranting. Ranting is always bad. Just pass the mic if you have nothing to add to the conversation. But rants are never accepted.
Internet situation here.
No forgiveness needed, because with the time check, there's no ranting. Everybody's locked in. You can only rant but so far.
Right.
So it's all good. Brother Derek, go ahead, my man. It's on you.
All right. Thank you. First, I like
now look, so far, this is like tic-tac-toe, family. Everybody's row has been a alleged Russian troll plant. All right. So is this going to be a tic-tac-toe win? Right. Is he going to get the oval?
To speak to the brother Kalonji. I know Kalonji very well. As far as the name, we're dead serious. Reparations used to be a concept. It was theoretical.
Okay, good.
I grew up influenced by Rastafari culture.
Good. Okay, I think he's on code with us. All right, good. They didn't win. The trolls didn't win.
Reparations is something that's a streamline to Rastafari culture. Just like Rastafari culture has kept a lot of the traditions of Garvey alive. If you want to talk about Pan-African.
Yeah, but that's garbage though. Garvey concepts and ideology is completely garbage. That's why he is nicknamed Marcus Scam Garvey. I hate when guys bring him up like it's a win. No, Garvey's a complete nothing burger. And Jamaica is only made of Rastafarianism in Jamaica is only 1% of the country. Okay, family? Rastafarianism only makes up 1% of Jamaica. That's it. It's a nothing burger there. So when he's talking so far, I don't know, he might get that oval.
No, we're dead serious. I used to believe that it was something that should happen for us, but not possible. I've taken a different point of view, but I've learned a lot more about the actual reparations discussion itself. So that's changed my views itself. The other thing too, I wanted to address a couple things really quickly. This might be sort of scattered. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember all the points from each thing that each person has said. First thing I'd like to say is to Brother Franklin, in regards to your statement about being able to live in capitalism but not being a capitalist, an ideology that's true, but you can't practice that 100%. And I would actually.
This is Franklin right here, the guy with the oval. So I guess everybody spotted him. Like, yeah, like you're clearly a Russian bot, Russian troll.
Ask you to refer to Dick Gregory, which Dick Gregory said himself that he himself, whether consciously or subconsciously, also plays a part in those bombs that are dropping. Why? Because we play a part in a capitalistic system. So even though you may not be someone who's actually intentionally or consciously doing something, you may take every precaution that you can to prevent from doing those things. There's no way that you can live in a society that is the power structure itself and completely eliminate yourself from the society unless you live in a self-reliant society, somewhat like the Rastafari people, which I would be willing to bet most of us don't. The other thing I would like to say is, I think this conversation should really start off as, are we a people? Are we an ethnic group? Okay? Because I've heard a lot of talk about African this and Black that, and even the talk has been murky to some degree. I like to say African Americans, descendants of chattel slavery, are not African descendants. We are African ancestry. It's a different thing. And I've even looked up the definitions of Pan-Africanism, and by that definition, it means that the descendants of African ancestry, not direct descendants. That's the difference in us, okay? So there is an American streamline through us that unfortunately we haven't been able to embrace because this country has not treated us well. Now, do we have white supremacist government? We absolutely do. But you got to ask yourself this: how do other people of color come here and they're able to benefit from a white supremacist government, including other Black people?
Tethers.
All Black people are not held by the same criteria in every single way under this white supremacist government. We'll get into that later. So in regards to these things, most people I talk to don't even have a process to go about reparations. Most people also think that reparations would come down to land and all of these other things, which I think that those things should be considered. But when you understand the most consequential thing that we have going on right now is the racial wealth gap, which is a lineage wealth gap, by the way, okay? Meaning that this goes back from slavery to Jim Crow, convict leasing, civil rights, redlining.
Yeah, so far you okay. CRU, that link doesn't show something specific. It's just a regular Instagram link. Yeah, it doesn't point to somebody talking. Yeah, you got to do that over and make the link more specific to whoever the video's about. Or
Mass incarceration all the way. And you're talking about lineal family lines. So when you say Johnsons and Williams and Jones and Ball, you're talking about people that are more than 3 or 4 generations after slavery. We're not even talking about once you get before 1865. So we're talking about a specific people with a specific claim to a U.S. government, a country. You cannot go against white supremacy as just a huge power. You have to deal with it as a country. So we're the people in this country. Next thing I like to say is about Black politics. Black Americans, descendants of slavery, are 85 to 90% of the population in this country. So when you talk about Blackness and Black culture, there are other aspects of Black people who have contributed to the culture. There's no question on that. But they came into a culture. They didn't build it. Okay? So what we're saying is that Black Americans need to lead this front politically. The politics has to start domestically first. I heard you say that you're a nationalist. I'm glad to hear that. We need to build a national politics and have a national identity. Most Black people on here don't even know who they are. At the end of the day, if you understand that you're an African, but you don't understand that you're a descendant of U.S. chattel slavery and an American, a citizen, and you got a right to everything here, plus the country owes you specifically because there wouldn't even be a country without you. That's different than coming here and immigrating by will and still having acts of injustice happen to you. That's what we're saying at the end of the day. We're saying no disrespect to any other Black people. We love Black people, but you still came here by will. You came here by will. This is where the slave boats dropped us, as Kwame Ture said. We are specific, as Kwame Ture said himself. The African in America was the only person
who had a trip here and knew it was going to be hell. Everybody else came here by will. Guess what that means? That means even Kwame Ture, who was born in Trinidad, came here by will. Did he still deal with injustice? Hell yeah, he did. He's black in America. He catches hell. But he's not carrying the crude disadvantage that the people that he's born already have. Thank you.
Woo. All right. So now I think with the 30-second question or comment with a 2 to 3 minute response.
Yeah, so far I could tell by him saying that this setup looked like it's about to be chaotic. Like, you got 9 people on here, man, and now you about to just say random cross examination. This ain't gonna go well. I don't see this going well.
Honestly, I've lost track of the sheet. Who's
exactly? Look, I just said that. I am good. I just said I don't see that cross examination going well. It's 9 people. It's going to be crazy and chaotic. And he just said I lost the sheet. I knew it. 9 people is always bad. You want 2 to 3 people the most.
Supposed to start.
Yeah, these 9 panel things, the Q butter things, like this is out. The Garfield pocket. This is outdated stuff. This is 2018. 2019, it worked. No, not even 19. 2016, Sinus platform style, chaotic stuff, confusing. That was a thing around like the 2013, 14, 15, 16. It's been played out since 2018 and up. It doesn't work. It's just confusion. It's people talking over each other. It's garbage, and already it's garbage here.
I believe Ibrahim.
Go ahead, brother.
Ibrahim, yeah. If he has any questions or
if you have a question, like, because we only allotted 20 minutes for this round. So if you don't have a particular question or comment, we don't have to use it. But I just wanted to
it sounds like it's already confusing. People are already confused. It's stupid. Of course they're gonna have a question because everybody wants to talk, dummy. Nobody's gonna just pass up their time.
Round is open, so a more open conversation or whatever. But
okay, I did have a question because the reason why I watch Black Power Media is because the advocacy you guys do for political prisoners, right? But you I noticed when you speak about reparations, you say that I guess the powers that be, white people, the government, the same people that oppressed us is not going to give us reparations. Like, why would the people with their foot on our neck like make us whole and give us, what they've plundered us for so many years?
Well, why would they make us whole? And what does that even mean? Like, what does that mean to make us whole? Just give my damn money, man. I make myself whole. Give me my money. It's my money and I want it now. It's my money and I can spend it how? Okay? Don't worry about that. Just give my money, my boy. Take your ass back to Uganda and let me get my money.
But you guys don't apply that same philosophy when it comes to advocating for political prisoners, right? Because like when you're trying to get somebody relief, you go through that bureaucratic process. And like, so my question to y'all would be, why do you look at like white people won't give us reparations, but they'll free Mumi Abu Jamal? Like what's the difference in us trying to get, economic liberation?
I kind of see his logic. It makes sense to me. He's saying, I got it. Like, you guys are pessimistic about reparations for us, but you guys are optimistic or even think about fighting for political, yeah. So if the government is racist and white supremacist, why would it bow down to any of our, yeah, I get what he's saying.
And him fighting, right, because it's his right to, and like,
but this is a long question.
Everybody else who fights to get liberation for him and all political prisoners.
Well, I would just like to take 60 seconds of whatever the 3 minutes are, and I'll give the other 2 to whoever. But it's not that we don't. It's not that those of us who make that advocacy have a certain belief or in the will of white people. It's that we as you are arguing, we address all means and manner available to get him out. So we do make appeals to the government, and we also make international appeals and Pan-African and internationalist appeals to get international solidarity, which is why Mumia's case, one of the main reasons he hasn't been put to death yet is because of the internationalists, and including the.
Wait. So, but I think the way he framed the question is, then if you believe that works, if you believe a KKK government will adhere to that, why wouldn't they adhere to reparations? Yeah, he kind of just killed himself. Or let me not use that terminology. He kind of just double talked.
Pan-African support for him. So again, my point is, tactically, if reparations is the goal, not having an internationalist or joining the internationalist existing reparations movement is tactically a flaw. It's not a question of deserving reparations. It's a question of philosophy and tactical approach. Does anybody else want to respond to that?
Yeah, really quickly.
That was more than 60 seconds.
So, I mean, part of this is when we say he will be returned. I think part of this is, for me, reparations is usually something that's given after the war is over, or even divvied up or talked about.
And family, he's 100% with all certainty a troll from the farm, Russian troll.
As far as I'm concerned, we're still in the war. Our folks are political prisoners, and they're only released when they're 70, 80 years old, because they've been held for 40 years, and they know that they can't do the same things that they did before. So the idea, and again, I take a somewhat even different tactic, even people who are on my side in this struggle, is that I don't think that the US government does things that are in our best interest. It does what it can get away with. And so it's never going to give us reparations to make us whole, because us being enslaved in some form or fashion, even post chattel slavery, is the goal of the US system. It is the using of Black and other cheap labor, and sometimes free labor, to make resources to make certain people rich. And if we think that that stuff does not apply, and that we're somehow on some playing field where if we could just marshal facts around the injustices that were done to us is why we will get reparations, I just don't think that's looking at a clear picture of who your enemy is.
Yeah, to add on real quick, if we're talking about enslavement, and we have political prisoners who are currently enslaved, quote unquote, the first order operation is to get rid of, to abolish that particular system and get rid of get them up out of captivity. I think that if we're going to talk about reparations, or we're going to talk about just like when we talk about nationhood, the brother mentioned nation. You know what I mean? If we're talking about nationality, we talk about nation. In any type of war, any type of situation, if we had beef on the street and I kidnapped your
This dude said beef on the street. Oh my God.
brother or your sister or your cousin or whatever, before we could talk about anything else, before we can discuss anything else, the first order of operation is, look, I want my people back. You know what I'm saying? All the other shit we could talk about, we can discuss it later on, but I want my people back first. So that's what
just in the interest of time,
I was reading crazy chats. Let me hear that full again.
The first order of operation is, look, I want my people back. You know what I'm saying? All the other shit we could talk about, we can discuss it later on, but I want my people back first. So that's what
just in the interest of time, I think we do need to keep it moving. Brother Logic,
I think I get the next question.
I thought so too, but
yeah,
we're still on the same. I just wanted to make a add on to that part that just happened. I don't know if you guys didn't understand what Tanner said, but I'm confused with some of the responses, and I'm kind of picking up on some contradictory language. He said that you're advocating for the political.
Hey, family, did I just call that? Did I just say the dude contradicted himself? I used the KIL word, and I said I apologize. I shouldn't have said KIL, but I say he contradicted himself. And now Logic Supreme picked it up. Hey, I need to be on these. No, I would never be on a 9-man panel ever. Okay. But if it's 1, 2, 3 people, I will join. And I sensed that right away. Like, you just contradicted yourself. And that's why, family, I really don't be losing in debates, because that's I don't miss stuff like that too often.
Prisoners to be released, right? But y'all said at one instance that reparations is begging people who control the power, and that you don't think they will ever, you understand, do what we're asking.
I just pointed that out. I said, yo, the dude just contradicted himself. And that's what he was saying. That's exactly what he was saying. Like, yo, how can you, one, say the government is a KKK government, so therefore reparations will never happen? He said that. I give him credit. He said it first. Then he said, but then you will appeal to that same KKK government to get a so-called political activist free. He said, yo, is it a KKK government that don't care about black concerns, or is not? So, you know, he's on code. Like, I think he's still in a gray area. But 1, 2, 3, these three peeped that right away. Like, yo, what are you talking about? Yeah, this is bad.
So that's whether you got, I don't know. So whether you have people from the continent of Africa involved.
But brother, Logic, that's the point.
One second, brother.
But we already.
Whether or not you have group.
Okay, so now look, he's the first person to cut somebody off. You see that, family? He cut him off right away. Well, I thought everybody had time to just say what they needed to say, but he cut Logic off for pointing out their contradiction and being illogical.
People from the continent of Africa involved.
But brother, Logic, that's the point.
One second, brother.
But we already.
Whether or not you have groups from Africa helping you with this advocacy, you have already said the people who control the ability to release the man won't do it. So if we are in a fool's errand, doesn't that kind of put you in a fool's errand as well? Because it's the same power structure.
No, well, again, but brother, Logic, if we're talking about hearing each other, you have to hear what also was said. My point was that.
Wait. But how did he cut in right away and cut him off? Everybody was able to just say what they had to say freely with no interruptions, but as soon as Logic point out their stupidity, they get cut off, right? He get cut off right away, and it become a debate. But at the same time, look, he's debating, but when Logic accepts the debate and go to cook him, he's going to play victim and say, hey, I don't debate. Family, I've been there with these guys.
That is also why I'm advocating that your approach to isolate yourself from the broader internationalist movement is a mistake. As the political prisoner movement understands, their lone approach, there is no lone approach.
But
so
no one isolating
the appeals to the government are not in isolation from any number of all kinds of other activities, including activities that have put people like
are you also asking the U.S. government to release prisoners in Africa?
That's the bottom line, bro.
We are. We're not
absolutely.
Okay.
You're absolutely.
Right now, we're asking the U.S. government to get out of Haiti. Right?
No.
Absolutely.
War campaign.
Wait a second, brother Logic.
That's the heart of war.
I'm asking.
Absolutely.
I'm asking.
The answer is yes, brother Logic. The answer is yes.
Okay, so you're asking the government to release prisoners that they don't have in captivity.
In addition to all forms, any number of other forms of activity. We're not talking about prisoners that they don't have in captivity. That's okay. That's the point is, and I think you're intentionally not hearing this. The point is that if the political prisoner movement is not focused on the isolated effort of appealing singularly to the United States government while cutting itself off and saying others cannot be part of that
why
struggle.
Do you think we're cutting ourselves off?
Because you keep saying you're not part of the internationalist reparations movement, and that other reparations and other people should not be advocating for reparations.
No one on this panel said that. Okay. No one on this panel said that. We all said that we are for justice everywhere. The problem is the misunderstanding of what reparations is in general. Y'all think reparations is a tool or instrument to fight white supremacy. That's not what reparations is. Reparations is repair.
That's not my definition, and nobody said that, by the way. I didn't say that.
If you
But I didn't.
listen to
That's
what
not
you're
what I'm saying.
saying, you're trying to use reparations like that. I know you're a doctor. I know you're smart in that. I know you know what reparations is. But you're trying to use reparations as an instrument to fight global white supremacy. Reparations is about repairing specific harm to specific people for specific injustices. That strengthens me and makes me a stronger ally to our brothers and sisters in Africa, and that will put me in a better position to help them.
Logic.
No, it'll put me in a better position to sue Africa for the harms that they done.
So logically, because you broke the stream, I'm going to break the stream. I want to get to a question and try to get back in the stream for the 20 minutes, and then we can go back and have. That's right. And then we can have a free flow.
No,
That's okay.
Actually,
I'm trying
he
to
got
stick
cut
to the
off
stream a little bit
by the host.
because I wanted to ask a question, and it's based on this. It's based on this sort of domestic versus international viewpoint that it seems to be, that maybe seems to be some part of the major ideological difference, right? So, Brother Chad, you talked about the civil rights.
Yeah, the late crew be heavy, yo. We 124 deep in the night. You did well. East Coast is 1 a.m. Let me see what the lights looking like. Normally the night crew, the grand night crew, usually got the lights up without any, beef or motivation. Nah, I give y'all too much credit. Family, we are almost 30 likes behind. If you didn't like the video, you know it's you. Go ahead and like the video. Thank you.
Movie, and this might be more directed towards you, so I want you to give me a sort of a fuller answer on it, because you talked about the civil rights movement like a like a sort of a logical one step after the other process that got us to a point of civil rights legislation. But you didn't sort of bring out that, and something I think Jared has been pointing out, that during that same period, part of what led to even some opening, right? I'm not even going to agree that the marches led to the civil rights legislation. Actually, was Kennedy being killed that led to the civil rights legislation being passed. But that's a deeper discussion. Is at the same time there is liberation movements happening on the continent and other places, and part of the well-documented history, right, of the
They just muted him. What happened? Oh.
Of the civil rights, Black Power struggle during that time period is that the U.S. government thought that it could no longer sort of dictate internationally around human rights when people were complaining about human rights abuses here at home, right? So people internationally were using the abuses of the United States here to talk about the United States not being some citadel of democracy and so forth and so on, which opened up some aspects and rights for folks here, not full rights, but some rights. So do you accept that there is a role for Black people here to join forces with other people internationally to fight similar struggles, whether it's reparations or something else, that there is a role to be played for that coming together?
I think there's a role to be played by the diaspora in supporting our reparations claim here in America if they see that need for justice specifically for our people. Again, in a justice claim, specificity is essential, and you see that across the globe in all justice claims that are brought against formal governments. This is no different. And so I think that our simple point of contention is that we cannot dilute our justice claim by trying to reach out and pull other groups into it when specifically we have a redress that we are pursuing. Now, I always welcome allies. I welcome anyone that's supportive of reparations for Black Americans here in this country. But allyship does not mean that you stand in front of me and you dictate to me the terms of that redress to people that have been here, as I think I heard Derek say, for over 4 generations, right? I trace my folks back to Newton County, Mississippi in the 17th century. So that is a different set of circumstances, and it's not anti anybody. I get fed up when we start talking about how us being pro ourselves is anti any other group in the diaspora. That is not the case. We are Black Americans who have made specific contributions and been subjected to specific conditions in a specific geography. And I don't understand why that is a point of contention others in the diaspora to understand and be able to get behind. I've heard comments made. Go ahead.
It's not a point of contention though. What you're saying, see, there's a couple straws being thrown at here. There's nobody in the diaspora no, I hear you. I appreciate it. I'm not saying it's intentional or even whatever, but I'm saying that there are the Pan-Africanist movement. The African world is not against Black Americans having reparations. There is no organized Pan-African effort to deny reparations.
Yes, you are. The minute you make it race-based, as you attempted to talk about earlier, you are definitely against reparations family. So just because they say we want reparations, doesn't mean they're not against reparations. Let me show you my chart again. Let me show you my chart. Let's go here. If you are doing this, if you are supporting this, if you are supporting state reparations, if you are supporting race-based reparations, you are 100% against FBA reparations. And if you are supporting this, you are 100% against reparations. If you are speaking against that, you are 100% race-based you're against reparation. If you are even considering a dumbass plan like this, you are 100% anti-FBA reparations. No matter how much you yell it over and over and over, you're against it, bro.
So I'm not. So again, I think that is a separate point. And in fact, many of us who are in the Pan-Africanist movement support reparations. And are only advocating tactically that you bring in the internationalist movement to support tactically Black Americans getting reparations.
Right. When you do that, when you also start to allow or accept immigrants from yesterday into our claim. Nope, not happening.
The other point I want to raise from Errol Henderson in the chat that I think is exactly right.
And the whole international thing you're talking about after AU hijacking our reparations. Bro, we're good. We're good. And yo, these guys, are they even Black? What are you? Like him, like these two right here. Like what are you, man? Yeah, y'all not even foundational.
That the comparison between the appeals to the government for political prisoners versus reparations is equally a straw argument, in that to a certain extent, at least, political prisoners have been released here and abroad as a part of those appeals and a part of the struggles beyond those appeals, including the internationalist movement and including the work of people like Sekou Odinga, who just got released for his extra legal support of releasing political prisoners. So again, the comparisons are falsely being put together here, and I think we're missing some points here. But anyway,
can I respond,
please?
Dr. Ball?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Again, I don't think anyone here is saying that we will not accept support from the diaspora in our fight for reparations. Let's just make that clear. Nobody is excluding the diaspora from supporting our claim for reparations against this government. But when we talk to tactics, and you say tactically,
right, we don't want you guys picking up a microphone and speaking about reparations on our behalf. It's real simple. Like I said earlier, family, if you guys were here earlier, we're not against that. I say this: get a shirt, reparations for FBA or FBA reparations, and get in the back. Be visible, be seen, but shut up. Okay? Get a shirt that says FBA reparations or whatever language you want to use that shows you're a supporter, and shut up. We don't need you talking on our behalf. That's all. Get a shirt and shut up.
How we should be moving. When I hear that, again, the pragmatist in me says, tactically, what we should be doing is pay attention to Congressional Bill HR 40. We need to understand that bill is flawed. We need to be making calls to a Jerry Nadler, a Steve Cohen, or Sheila Jackson Lee, and other members of the House Judiciary Committee, telling them that we need the amendment from Dr. William Darity included in HR 40 to give that bill teeth and allow it to move through Congress. So then we can set up this commission to study, and then we can get real proposals for reparations on the table. That to me is a tactic, very specific. I told you what needs to happen, what needs to occur in an order of operations. You see in that I didn't give you anything theoretical. I didn't give you anything ideological. I gave you what Black Americans need to do here in the United States of America to seek redress for the conditions that have been afflicted upon us, as you've heard many of these other panelists
Right
say.
on. Hey, that's a great point, except the only thing I disagree with that is that that is theoretical and political. You're making a theoretical political argument.
But
but it's all good, man.
What you're calling theoretical, I'm saying there's a piece of legislation that is in Congress currently. Okay, there's a very concrete piece of legislation. Theoretical is we're not going to fight because they won't give it to us.
Nobody said that. Nobody has said that, and I just gave you an example.
That's exactly what Mr. Franklin said. I'm not.
No, I did. No, I just to jump in and be clarified. Yeah, for me, reparations is not for you. Reparations, but it's a political difference.
He did say it.
Reparations for you seems to be the heart of your political struggle, right? And you tell me when I'm wrong. It doesn't seem like, you know, if the U.S. is destabilizing another African nation or country, it sounds like to me you will keep quiet on that if you think it somehow.
No. Yes. Well, as you come in, like the video, share, subscribe. Nita Watson, peace to you. Subscribe, like the video, you know, notification bell, and tap in with us. Damn, tomorrow's Monday already. God damn.
The possibility of getting reparations.
So I'm gonna be live sometime tomorrow. I wish this other location. So I had 2 locations. The one I'll be at normally, family, is very expensive. So I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate you guys who cash at Pinky Wells and other folks. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I gotta start shouting you guys out. I thought about like writing the names down. See, but the thing is, when you guys send a cash app, your name ain't the same as your YouTube. So that's why I don't really shout out names, because unless you put that in the, you know, the thing. So yeah, so if you guys cash app and you want me to shout your name out, then put your name in like the note box, whatever, because some of your governments are there, and I really don't know who. I thank you, but I don't know who you are from the chat, because the chat don't have your government name. It has your YouTube channel name. Okay. But anyway, I appreciate the cash chats and super chats, because that's how I'm able to get to be in that diner every day. It's very nice. But my location is a little more congested, but it's cheaper. It's cheaper, and it's cool. And the manager loves my son, so a Spanish lady. So it's good money in there. And it's shorter in distance, right? But Monday already, God, I can't believe it. It's Monday. Yeah, I don't know. These days be flying.
No.
And you can jump in. I mean, at one point and tell me where I'm wrong on that. So because that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, we would have to jump in, because we would have to.
But the super chat, we know who they are, because the super chat tells you who they are. It's the cash app. They gotta put their name in the note box, like when it says for whatever, so I could give you, the shout out to let folks know. No, you are supporting too, because those in the super chat, their name is already there. The cash app doesn't really have the YouTube name, so put that in the message thing where it says for whatever, and then we'll do that.
Then, because essentially all of that is wrong. Because we are focusing on our national agenda of reparations doesn't mean we've put any other agenda to the back burner. That doesn't mean that we are silent about international politics.
What are some of the other agendas?
We just don't convolute them all together.
They're not convoluted.
They're about reparations. When we're talking about international politics, that's what we're talking about.
Your organizational apparatus has.
Urban Commute says we need to organize with smart lawyers and get some powerful white folk to help us then present a package before our government on behalf of reparations. The end. Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Will take a stance where it sees the U.S. Whether or not we think it's illegally, but immorally suppressing and oppressing other people, African or not, i.e. in Haiti, in the Congo, AFRICOM, your organization, you're saying to me, like, this is for my clarity, because I'd appreciate it. Your organization, you're saying to me, would take a stance and or will take a stance against overt white supremacist action, U.S. military action in other places that is not surrounded around reparations, right?
Hey, Brother Franklin, we're
Yes,
not.
sir.
Well, let me answer that real quick.
Yeah, no doubt, Lolly. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is we will look at any individual policy, whether it's domestic or international, and if we think it's the best policy to support, we will support it. So that's what we're saying.
Don't give me a political answer.
Hold on.
Give me a real answer. Do you the U.S. right now, let me give you a concrete thing. The U.S. right now is supporting a dictator in Haiti who refuses to leave office. Haiti has been suppressed and oppressed and invaded by the United States. I'm just using it as an example because it's currently in the news. Right.
Yeah, well, that sounds like before you even finish, that sounds like a Haitian problem. All right. And they need to get back to their homeland and fix that problem. What the hell they got to do with us, man? Bro, see, again, if I'm on a panel, I'm just like that. Hey, man, before you even finish, that sounds like a Haitian problem. I need the Haitians in America to get back to their homeland and fix that shit. Okay, go back home and fix that, make their homeland greater, and then they can come back and, whatever. But get back home and fix your country. You can't fix your country, you're not home. You can't clean your house if you're not home. You can't mow your yard if you're not home. You cannot fix the roof or replace the water heater if you're not home. You can't fix your house if you're not home.
For well over 100 and so years, right? U.S. has had sanctions on Haiti, has made sure it stayed poor. It has put its corporations in there, make sure Haiti buys most of its food from the United States.
Nah, not you, Pinky. I said when you sent your donation, I knew it was you because it said Pinky. I'm saying other people have sent donations and they have not attached their name to it. And I seen their government name because it's going to show a name when you send a Cash App, but it's their government name. It's not their YouTube name. So I wouldn't know who sent that donation through Cash App. So I'm saying, so for folks who want to send a donation to Cash App, just put your name somewhere in the note so I can shout you out. But I don't check my Cash Apps because I'm like while I'm live. You know what I mean? I don't be on my phone like that. So when you guys send a Cash App, I usually find out when I'm off the live. Plus, I'm superstitious too. I feel like if I check, I'm online. If I'm online, I feel like it's going to say no donations. I feel like, I guess it's like the gift feeling, like, the Santa Claus feeling. Like when I log off, I check the phone. Like, oh, okay. Okay. Three people, 2 people donated. All right, that's what's up. I think I like that surprise feeling.
And that it doesn't get to do its own thing in its own country as somebody in the United States who could do something to sort of stop that. That doesn't take away from your reparations struggle. You can still say you're for reparations. Is that something that you would be willing to say as an organizational apparatus or a policy or political belief that you'd come out and say the United States is wrong to do that? We need to act for the United States to stop doing that because that is something that it should not be doing.
Nah. I don't speak nothing.
Coming out in a position, yes, but prioritizing policy is another conversation. You are intelligent man. We understand government has priorities. So if you're asking me, am I going to prioritize that international position over my own justice at home? Then no.
I'm asking you if you will. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, brother. Right? Are you?
Nah, I can't. I can't.
I'm talking about priorities. You do understand priorities, right?
So what is your priority? Tell us.
My priority is my domestic problems, the problems that I face in my local city, my state, and my government. Then I can have. Then we talk about what our international policy and position will be. Anyone who understands government understands there are priorities, and you cannot mix your domestic positions with your international positions. They're two separate things.
Right.
So you're asking me international policy and trying to tie it in to my domestic.
I didn't tie it into reparations at all.
When you read the program, when you read reparations,
I asked you simply. Would you not support that at the same time you support reparations?
I don't support imperialism, though. I'm not going to say imperialism is not global. I don't see how that ties in to my domestic problems.
Okay, so one way I gotta jump in here.
For Beverly Weston, you're new here. I'm gonna make you a mod. I think you know what this channel's about. FBA, the lineage. But you said I don't know how to send a cash app or super sticker, or you might be talking about super chat. Well, both are easy, right? So to send a cash app, you gotta first have the cash app download to your phone. If you don't have that, then yeah, it's not gonna happen. But the super chat, if you look at the bottom, there's a smiley face, there's a plus sign heart, and a dollar sign icon right there. Click the dollar sign icon, and yeah, you got to attach your account information there, and it's just that easy. But you know, it's easy to figure out. You know, it's not that difficult. It's just gonna ask you for bank information. There's a lever that you slide. Once you enter your bank information, you click the dollar sign. There's a lever you slide to $1.99, 99 cents, $2, and that's it. And you attach a message, and there you go.
Here, brother Logic, because we have to start to go to a close. Okay. So what I would just like to say is my humble suggestion is that we each take 2 minutes and close. I'm even just going to go first by just simply saying that I think that to your point, one of the issues that has plagued, I know some of the circles I've run in terms of the issue of reparations, is that the plight for reparations ends up in many ways supporting the imperialism of the country, because the country's wealth accumulation is not simply from the enslavement of African people in this country historically. It is which is itself part of an international accumulation of wealth, and it is something that reparations in some of its aspects seems to want to support, and in the end, this capitalist, imperialist, accumulationist project, than to say that we, descendants of slaves, should then just get a fair share of that accumulated wealth. So for some of us as revolutionaries, feel like we don't want any part of that project. We want to revolutionize the entire society.
Exactly. So you're against FBA reparations. We already knew that. The panel already knew that. And now you're saying that in the most fancy words possible, but that's all you said. You just said you're against FBA reparations. Thank you for finally just saying that.
Civilization and world, which would make reparations moot, because all the wealth that we help produce would be distributed in such a way there would be no inequality, and the historical sufferings could then be addressed by communities on their own in ways the U.S. government and white folks can't involve themselves. So that's my I just thank you all for doing this. I think that there's unfortunately a lot of talking past each other. We're not going to come to an alliance tonight, but I certainly, from my end, appreciate that you all came through, and I would like to just encourage us to keep studying and maybe revisit some of the histories that I feel like ADOS has.
All right, they do just run this mouth. Nita Watson said, "We are laser focused on constitutional lineage-based reparations for the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. Period. Facts." Bro says he's quoting the FBA anthem. He said, "FBA, we don't play, we don't run away." Who else says something? CRU royalty hashtag FBA. Grant Nigga said, "Always the high yellow folk talking black power and off code." Oh my God, they are so embarrassing. But the mulattoes are a lot worse. And I'm not saying because I'm lighter, but I agree with that comment though. Like the lighter folks are normal. It's embarrassing. They're like, "God damn, man, just shut up." You dig? FBA 1, no more B1. B1, yeah. So we over here we say we won, WE the number 1, which simply means that we are on code. We are one on code, and we also say B1. Or I'm sorry, the we one is we are one with the lineage, and we say BE1, instead of B1, we say BE1, which is a verb. We say B on code, B1 on code, right? So we1 is B1 with the lineage, and B1 is B1 on code. So BE1 verb, then we got we plural now, 1, we are one with the lineage. So, just some semantics, we'll play on words. We1, B1.
has glossed over and pushed out of its own, matrix on its own development, and maybe we all might get somewhere else. But anyway, I'm done. Thank you all very much. I appreciate you, and I don't know which order you all want to go in. I see Kalanji in the ordering here, but Brother Ibrahim, maybe we should go in your direction since I went first, and you can have your concluding statement. You got to unmute though. Unmute yourself, or I can help you there.
All
there
right,
you
all
go.
right, there you go. I would just conclude by saying, I think first we got to start with the very basics, that we weren't stolen from Africa by Europeans. West Africa had a burgeoning slave trade.
Thank you. Hey, this dude is low key smacking them up. This brother right here. This brother right here, low key, is taking his time and under the radar, smacking these Pan-Africans up in the slickest way, where nobody really even know. Like, but I've been watching this guy. Like, this guy right here has been low key slapping these guys up, and he's doing it again. Yeah, don't let them say stolen, taken, kidnapped. No, West Indians, not West. I'm sorry, not West Indians. Sorry, West Africans stole us, sold us. Thank you, brother.
We got to start with the very. I would just conclude by saying, I think first we got to start with the very basics, that we weren't stolen from Africa by Europeans. West Africa had a burgeoning slave trade. We were traded to Europeans by other.
Yo, look at Baldy, yo. Yo, they hate to hear Africa's involvement in the slave trade. Yo, the dude got his head down with his hand on his head. And I don't even think I know he's not FBA. I don't even think this dude is FBA. So back to CRU, these two don't count. When you say light skin, now it ain't these two ain't even light skin. These two are from a whole different lineage. These two right here, they're not FBA.
Africans that stole us and defeated us in war. You see the apology from Ghana. You see the New York Times article, my great grandfather was a slave trader, right? And you even see some of the issues that Nigeria is going through right now with the Igbo tribe, with the Diala, the Osu, and the Ohu, right? Like some of that same demonic caste tribalism is still taking place. I think if we start there, we can have a better perspective on like what reparations is. I think you guys draw a line and you put black on one side and European on the other, right? We are
Which a lot of Pan-Africans do in Texas. We don't do that. We put FBAs on one side and our allies on the same side of us, and we put anybody. Remember, anybody can get it. We're the can men. We're the can women. Anybody can get it. Africans, Dominicans, Europeans can, you can, your mama can, anybody can get it. So what we do is we put FBA on one side and our allies, everybody supporting us, sticking with us, and we got everybody who undermines us and try to sabotage our reparations claim and everything we stand for on the other side, regardless of ethnicity, race, creed. We are not discriminatory. Anybody who opposes us is on the other side, not because you're just white. Okay, anybody who opposes us is on the other side. That's it. And he might say that.
Perspective on like what reparations is. I think you guys draw a line and you put black on one side and European on the other, right? We are for justice, right? No matter where it's at. I particularly had an issue with the bombings in Syria, right? That's and many of us did, right? SARS was another issue, right? I had an issue with SARS, but I couldn't help but acknowledge the lack of support when we had like mobilized and like went to the streets around George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and a lot of deaths that was happening. The lack of support that was coming from Africa. I believe I seen like one protest come from one nation. So like Haiti OS, I think we just speak specifically to the people. We are a tribe. We are a nation in a nation. We are a particular group of people. And I don't necessarily see myself an alliance with all Black people, right? Just those who do justice. And we know America does selective immigration as well. And a lot of the people that come over here aren't the necessarily those who are willing to get in the trenches and align with us, right? That's just how America rolls. I do consider myself America, and I do consider myself someone who descended from a lineage from Africa, right? But when we came over here, we are a totally different tribe. And I'll just close by saying, reparations is the key to our political fight. Our message is to unite our tribe, right? That's what our whole message is, to unite our tribe in America so we can fight for reparations. And we are accepting of any allies that are willing to help us fight for our justice claims.
Well said.
Yeah, all right. All right.
Kamal Kalanji. Oh, are we going? We just going around. My bad.
No,
Go ahead.
no,
Go ahead,
my
go
bad.
ahead.
I thought y'all called my name. Oh, my bad.
Oh no, it's all good. Whatever, whoever.
We could go and keep going back.
No, let that brother go. Let that brother go.
So, I mean, I think we clearly just
really don't
have.
wanna hear that guy.
And I'm glad that the conversation was as respectful as it was.
Yeah, you could hear his accent. He is not FBA in no way, shape, or form. I really don't want to hear the guy talk. He just undermines everything, you know, what the panelists was saying in support of reparations, lineage-based reparations. He's been very cynical. He's been very divisive, and all those fancy words, xenophobic. He's been all of that the entire time.
I think we just clearly have political differences, and whether or not those differences sometimes appear obvious or not, there's ways in which they come out. Like I would never, my examination in particular of our struggle here in the United States is that it's gotten mass support from around the world of other oppressed peoples, both on the continent, in Latin America. You saw other, you know, whether or not I agree with everything around the Black Lives Matter slogan, you saw people use it as a way to show support. The Black Power movement of the 60s and 70s was something that other nations and other peoples incorporated in order to struggle for their freedom and had relationships with Black Power organizations here. So I just don't think that our struggle is around whether or not we can get from this government reparations and that somehow makes us whole, when the imperialist project of the United States keeps going, which is really meant to continue to bring profit to a certain amount of individuals and to leave everybody else out. One, I just do not believe, right, in any way, shape, or fashion that this particular government at any point in time in its history will ever give us resources to make us whole. The only time that will happen is when this government is defeated. And so for me, the struggle is not reparations, it's revolution. Because it's only people who are free can demand reparations after an enemy is defeated. I've never read anywhere in history where a winning enemy decides to make its enemy whole, right? That's just not how it works. And so you have far more belief and or thinking that somehow if you play the game the way it's supposed to be game in terms of congressional, call your Congress member, call your senator, and even take support from people who overtly, I'm not saying you guys on here have done it, but other folks in this movement have taken support from right-wing folks, taking not only their resources, but their verbal support and separating them from other people of not only African diaspora, but trying to make those folks feel like they are Americanized or American, when again, the goal of America, as I think we all can list the issues and stances that have happened that lead us to be the #1 imprisoned, the #1 impoverished, the lowest paid, the lowest wage folks in the country, that those things still exist. And so there's no reason why this particular so-called democracy will do anything different to release us from our slavery. To me, that's not our struggle. It's an idea that people can use, but it's not our real struggle.
All right. Sorry if I hop in there. First, I want to say thank you. I appreciate everybody who came out here. Appreciate the opportunity. At this point, Pan-Africanism, in my opinion, will not work without a national identity of Black Americans from this country's perspective. Okay?
To me, that's why I started off the conversation with saying, are we a people? Because until you understand that your politics is based on an identity, and you have that identity down pat, you're going around in circles, baby. Okay? Right now, Black America does not have a grasp on its identity. It thinks it's indigenous. It thinks it's descended of slaves. It thinks it's an African. It does not have a center on its own political identity. You can't even get to the global aspect of that when you're talking about pulling people together here until people understand that. And to be totally honest with you, in my opinion, I totally respect the history of Pan-Africanism. I come from that history, that background. But it's confusion in a sense that Black people here have to understand an identity first here. There will be no, and if America falls, Black people had no money. So what? It's not like we're in a position where we're capable of helping ourselves. We're still at the mercy of other people. So you understand that we only own 2.6% of the American wealth. So we're still in a dilemma. If we leave the United States, we're still at the beckoning mercy of other people until we form those relationships, which Pan-Africanism has not done a great job in doing in regards to Black Americans and Africans. We should be, in my opinion, we could have done a long time ago when I was growing up. I'm almost 40 years old. They could have been sending Black kids to African countries and building these relationships. We haven't done that on a great scale, in my opinion. Is Pan-Africanism international? It surely is. But with all of its internationalism, we still have all of these other things going on. I want to address your comment real quick, Brother Franklin. Of course, we don't take a position on injustice in regards to people, because we have a national agenda, a national politics, which is how you get to the global politics, at least get the people inside of there. Does not mean that we don't care what happens to Black people. We the same Black people you see every day, the same ones. We love Black people just like you do. But we understand at the end of the day, that the politics must start here in order for it to even be global. To help Africa, we got to help ourselves first. And we need the help of Black people to support that here, so there can be a off-rolling or a wave effect. That's what we're saying.
I guess it's me next then. Yeah, so I'll just close out like this then. So I just want to say that I am a descendant of American freedmen who have a history of making something out of nothing. We are the same people who fought to free our brothers and sisters from chattel slavery. We are the same people who produced the what people thought was impossible. People thought defeating chattel slavery was an impossibility. And if you came out as an abolitionist, that was political suicide. But abolition was done. I'm from the same group of people that got the Voting Rights Act done, that got the Fair Housing Act done, that got the civil rights, not only the civil rights of 1866, but the civil rights of 1964 done. I'm from the people who gave birth to civil rights in America. We've been making something out of nothing our entire history of being in this country. So I'm not going to not continue that tradition. Doesn't matter how hard the road to reparations is, but justice for what my people have suffered is what we supposed to be fighting for. So I'm going to fight that fight because that's what my history leads me to do. That's what my ancestors did. And I'm doing what they did in Reconstruction. I'm doing what they did during the civil rights movement. I'm fighting no matter how impossible the task may be, or how gargantuan this political agenda is. We are here to fight that fight and pass that torch on to the next generation. You understand? Because they were the same people saying, well, we gonna be slaves. We ain't never gonna be free. We're free. You understand? The same people that said they ain't gonna never strike down Jim Crow. You'll never be able to have
and that's how the average Pan-Africanist, the average tether sound when they say we'll never get reparations. It's like, sure. So logic is cooking right now, and I like it.
senator. You'll never be able to have that torch on to the next generation. You understand? Because they were the same people saying, well, we gonna be slaves. We ain't never gonna be free. We're free. You understand? The same people that said they ain't gonna never strike down Jim Crow. You'll never be able to have a senator. You'll never be able to have a representative. You'll never be able to have this, and all the never said that. But I'm the people who made never possible, and that's what I'm here to do. Government is the game, and politics is how it's played, family.
Am I up next?
Yeah.
My man, Logic Supreme, you must be running for mayor in your city, man, because you definitely come with the politics. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, man, I think the biggest difference, first of all, I'd like to say, you know, thank you all. You know what I'm saying? We're all brothers. We start with that.
Now, this brother, well, this other, I call you others, this other speaking right now, he already proven that he is an idiot. And I don't say that in a disrespectful way at all. Like, he has proven he's an idiot and don't belong on that panel at all. I guarantee you're going to say the most stupid things that you heard tonight from this panel.
You know what I mean? We all brothers. We're looking at, we have different politics. We have different vantage points. We have different viewpoints, so on and so forth. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Secondly, it seems that the biggest difference, I think, between the two groups that we have here is it seems that one group is making an effort to totally abolish this system. And it seems the other group is making an effort to keep it.
What effort are you making to abolish the American system? So I can back away from your crazy ass. What effort are you making? And then you'll be one of those fake political activists. Yo, free me. I'm a political activist. No, dude, you tried to sabotage the American system, right? To replace it with some kumbaya kind of shit. And you're gonna get locked up and you're gonna call yourself a political prisoner. Dude, you're not a political prisoner. You are a felon at that point. Okay, I told you he was gonna say some real retarded stuff.
But a lot to between the two groups that we have here is it seems that one group is making an effort to totally abolish this system.
And I would love to know what efforts are those.
Is making an effort to keep it alive. I think that the pulse of the United States and imperialism is weak. And I think that by relying and hoping and praying for these bills and for to build nations within this nation, I think that it's a attempt to, as Malcolm said, be integrated into a burning house, right? I think that one of the things our good brother Ibrahim said, which I'm kind of confused about, he said the Africans weren't stolen.
I don't think Malcolm said that though. Hold on.
To build nation or nation, I think, as Malcolm said, be integrated into a burning house, right?
I don't think Malcolm X said that. I think that was Dr. King.
To, as Malcolm said, be integrated into a burning house, right? I think that
why should I stop and be like, ho. I don't think Malcolm said that one.
One of the things our good brother Ibrahim said, which I'm kind of confused about, he said the Africans weren't stolen, they were traded. And it sounds as if I'm wondering, like, traded with
No. That's not what he said. He was adding context because we know when you guys say stolen, taken, kidnapped, you are implying white folks is all white folks. So no, we were stolen, we were kidnapped, we were taken, but all by Africans. Okay, and so that had to happen first, because how you gonna sell us if we're not there? So you had to steal us, kidnap us, take us. Then you sold us, and you sold us to the white man.
Who traded? And it's kind of confused about. He said the Africans weren't stolen, they were traded. And it sounds as if I'm wondering, like, traded with who? You understand what I'm saying? Who were we traded for? Were we traded with other white folks? I mean, who took over the land? I'm confused about that. It sounds like an NBA draft.
Okay, it sounds like you're just. I told you, family, he was gonna say the most stupid things on the panel. So you never heard of the transatlantic slave trade, and you're on a panel discussing. This is wild.
It sounds like you trade this one for that one and that one for this one. That's how it sounds when I'm hearing it. I don't, I think at the end of the day, whatever weapon of choice you choose, get down with it, do your thing. But if you're looking to keep this system alive, then it's a thin line between being our brother and uniting with our oppressor. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to be careful with how we move or whatever.
No, I don't understand what you're saying.
I've heard throughout the piece that it is a very strategic move that we have to make. But you all, keep doing what you're doing. Let's all continue to study, and let's fight on behalf of our people.
Brother Chet.
Studying needs to happen because Malcolm didn't say integrate into a burning building. That was Dr. King. And yeah, you don't understand. I had to chime in, CRU. Sorry, but I know what he's gonna say. I know the talking points, and I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I want to sound correct. I know the talking points. All right. And they say the same shit. They say the same stuff.
Dad, you get the last word tonight, man. Take us home.
I appreciate all the brothers being here. So from my perspective, I always keep the main thing, y'all. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. And so if you've never seen poverty in the rural South, I don't think you understand the plight of Black Americans viscerally as I do. We are out here dying. So you heard Derek quickly reference the fact that we only have 2.6% of the wealth. That doesn't even take into account the calcification of that wealth, where we have 80% of our population living on just a small portion of that 2%. In fact, the bottom half of Black America is worth less than $1. I've seen it up close. I've seen the shotgun houses. I've seen the homelessness, even throughout the South and here in Los Angeles. We are dying. So reparations is not a choice of what we want to advocate for. It is the means and the method. It is a debt that is owed to us to continue us as a viable group in this country. So when you hear us here talking about reparations, it's not that we are attempting to, I think, as you said, Brother Kalonji, keep the systems going. No, we are trying to keep our people going. We're trying to get our people collectively uplifted to their right station in this country, to where they should be. This is not about us taking any considerations for American imperialism. These are considerations for Black folks, for Black Americans. And if you understand our true condition, if you understand what we're living for, and you see the numbers and you see the data, again, the pragmatist in me, I'm guided by data. When you look at those numbers and you can honestly say that we don't need wealth infused back into our communities, the debt that is owed to us repaid. And I also have to take contention with, you say, hoping and praying for bills. I guarantee you hoping and praying is the last thing I'm doing. I'm on the streets and I'm on the phone and I'm on the email, and that's evidenced by AB 3121 that's out here in California that was passed into law. So I'm not hoping and praying for anything. I'm about that action, brother. And the other brothers on this call about that action, and the people that are in this movement for real about that.
That was my fault right there. That was the mouse slippage. I get it back. Oh, this is gonna start me way to the beginning.
And we live.
Hey, young world.
To release us from our slavery. To me,
suffered is what we suppose.
As if I'm wondering, like,
here. So from my perspective, I always keep the main thing, y'all. I've seen it up close. I've seen it. So when you hear us here talking about where they should be, This is not about us taking any considerations for American imperialism. These are considerations for Black folks, for Black Americans. And if you understand our true condition, if you understand what we're living for, and you see the numbers and you see the data, again, the pragmatist in me, I'm guided by data. When you look at those numbers and you can honestly say that we don't need wealth infused back into our communities, the debt that is owed to us repaid. And I also have to take contention with, you say, hoping and praying for bills. I guarantee you hoping and praying is the last thing I'm doing. Hoping and praying for anything. I'm about that action, bro. That's on you. But I can tell you we're moving.
How about that action, brother?
All right. I can tell you.
Ain't nobody hoping and praying over here.
I'm all the way about that action.
We're moving with this movement, and we're producing results. So I would encourage you to study up on AB 3121 and what that is and how historic that piece of legislation is.
I tell you what.
I'm talking about abolishment, brother. That's
if there's going to be, we appreciate it, but there's a lot of studying that.
Yeah, why does this weirdo interrupt all the reparationists for the lineage? Whether FBA, Adolf, Friedman, whatever they call themselves, they're part of the lineage. Why are they interrupted by Baldy every time that he disagrees? Every time, Malcolm X, to quote him correctly, you throw a rock in a crowd of dogs, the one that comes out hollering is the one that was hit. Okay, Baldy keeps coming out hit. He keeps cutting off the FBAs only. Ain't he closing out? Why are you cutting them off?
Needs to go on, because I think that many of the arguments here are lacking in historical context, and so we don't have any time, but we got to wrap it up. I know I certainly need to move on, but I appreciate everybody for doing this. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you back here at Black Power Media another time.
Likewise, family. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We were lit. Grand night for sure. Hope this was educational. I hope you guys understand about the Russian troll farms in Nigeria and Ghana. They use Africans and Pan-Africans to undermine our position in America. Our fight against systemic racism. They gaslight us. They overhype. They try to create a larger wedge between black and white. Pretty much trying to foster a racial war, something like that. They're trying to do, but it's been exposed, and we see them from who they are right now. So now we look at everybody, crazy that come against us. Like, we have to consider everybody coming against us. They're possibly coming from that Russian troll farm. All right. So before you go, family, just make sure you like the video. Okay. The like is good because most people did like. And the like just put us in an algorithm where other folks like Nita and the folks here today that joined us is able to, join the lineage, chat with us in the chat, have fun, kick back, and we all learn together. This is, I think, Renaissance Woman sent me this link. As I'm talking on mute. This was a great link. I think Renaissance Woman sent the link. It was a great link. Thank you. Made the show great tonight. I think most of y'all agree. Appreciated this show and enjoyed it tonight. It was something new for sure. Like I said, like, subscribe, notify. The Cash App is there. And we'll see you tomorrow, Monday. Hopefully my local spot is open. Well, the local spot, the issue with that is the outlet. The outlet is not working. So, what's the point of if the outlets don't work, then that means you can't charge your phone, laptop, nothing. You dig? So it's been a ghost town in there. Nobody is staying in there. And I'm sure they're losing hella business. So hopefully by tomorrow they worked on that outlet. Cause it is cheaper as opposed to the other spot I'd be at daily. That one is expensive and the food is garbage. It's really for white people, Chinese people. The food is absolutely garbage. I get coffee, I get a bagel, and my son gets, fruit cup, something like that while we there. Patronize don't kick us out because we got some of the. I've been getting lucky. I've been getting some of the best seats there. It's interesting because the other folks, in my mind, they're the best seats, but obviously the Chinese people and the white folks don't think so. They like the other seats. I'm glad. I love the seat I get in there. Anyway, family, we out till tomorrow. I see you. Peace. Enjoy your night. If you got to work, hopefully you got some sleep for that. If you're off, enjoy your day, rest up, and get things done. Till tomorrow, salute. Grand night. Peace. The lineage. We one and be one.